and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Jessica Hamilton is in here from Kitty Hawk Racing, ever present in the sprint, always up the front, always wanting to drive the pace, and indeed she's driving the pace out the start pen at the moment. And look at the stretch on that group, they were not expecting that.
Arias goes off the front here. This is a very difficult way to take the sprint win, and the positioning of the sprint, it may be mean, but my goodness, it's genius, because it really makes these riders think about how they attack this. And as they go up, they catch, and they're going past the riders in category 6 here, so the lead is likely to exchange. This is a move coming in. This is Coffee Plantation Sprint. This is where the bridges come. This is where the move is going to go. Go through the sprint, watch the attack. Here comes the response. Sophie Ramet out of the saddle here, really stamping down on those pedals. She's got to keep this going. The effort's got to go all the way to the end here. She needs every single second to make this count. No, look, you don't keep that effort rolling. This is key. That big kick in over the line. Through she goes. Category 4, Category 5, and Category 6 all on the climb. Category 3, the riders that we are in with, onto that climb as well, which leaves only Category 2 and 1 to reach the base of the climb. On today's race route, we'll see who comes out on top at the top of the climb.
They are absolutely motoring up this climb at the moment, Category 3. So they go past Gina Di Grazia. She's got absolutely nothing. She can't dig in. She can't make any benefit of that group going past. And I am not surprised, because they are flying. Johnson further up. She's currently 5 seconds ahead of this fast moving train of Category 3 riders. And you won't believe it, but the Category 1 pack aren't even underneath the polka dot banner yet.
This is our race finish coming. Gorea has the head of the race. Vasquez starts to wind up. It's a Carnus into a sight as well. Kittle and Denton are coming. Vasquez got a big kick 6 watts to Kittle, but Gorea has opened the throttle again. She's found something extra. Can she keep them all behind? The big push comes here. Denton's coming. Vasquez coming. Gorea holds the front. She passed by Denton in the last few meters. Ryan Denton takes the race win from Sylvia Gorea.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم.
الضغط واضح، الكل يضغط باللون الأحمر، أي أنه يضغط في الزون الخامس والسادس في الكوكبة. نشاهد الأسماء المتواجدة، الجنسيات المتواجدة أيضا. الكولومبي والبولندي هي المسيطرة في هذه الفئة الرابعة. الآن تنطلق، نعم تنطلق، ورفع رتم السرعة. كريزا بالفئة الأمام، وهنا تنطلق أيضا فيرونيكا أرياس، نعم تنطلق في السبرنت، وهي صاحبة المركز الثاني في الأسبوع الماضي. تنطلق بقوة وتصل أولا. نعود إلى الفئة السادسة. الفئة السادسة تصل إلى السبرنت الثاني والتنافس. هنا تنطلق فيرونيكا أرياس للحفاظ على القميص الأخضر. هناك كريزابل أيضا تنافس وتتواجد في الأمام، ودانييلا لوندون صاحبة القميص الأخضر. وهناك عملية أتاك من إيميلي ولت، وأيضا خلفها كاثرين فوهرير. تستغل الكل يهدأ بعد السبرنت، وهي تقوم بأتاك مفاجئ. خلفها كاثرين فوهرير الآن. نيلي ليرسون تخرج خلفهم، وكريستين كلوشنسكي وإليزابيث متواجدات في الخلف للملاحقة. ليسوفي الآن تضع كل ما لديها، نعم، للفوز بالقميص الأخضر، وتنطلق الآن بكل ما لديها الحفاظ على القميص الأخضر. المهمة ليا في في هذا السبرنت الأخير، نعم تضع كل ما لديها وتصل أولا. وهنا نهاية السباق لسيلفيا أم للاورا توكوناس الكولومبي أم المتسابقة الإيطالية. الكولومبي تتقدم بكل قوة من الخلف مانويلا فاسكويز وأيضا لاورا توكوناس. سيلفيا الإيطالية تنافس قوي وتنتصر سيلفيا في آخر الأمتار، وتدخل ريان البريطاني في آخر الأمتار، تتفوق وتأخذ القميص الأصفر.
So hello to Qualifier race number 3. It's the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We have 6 race starts. Our Category 6 in purple, Category 5 in light blue, Category 4 in red, Category 3 in dark blue, Category 2 in green, and Category 1 in yellow. All those riders going to be taking to our race starts today here on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with
Emma Martin, and I know where we're going because we are going to Belgium. This is my favourite race route on the Sunday Race Club at the moment. 45 kilometres of racing, 492 metres of climbing. Come out of the start pen through the Ghent City Sprint. The first 6 kilometres of this race route are flat. They then hit the Kortekeer climb. It's 3.9 kilometres with an average gradient of 2.5%. Deceptive, because that first kicker goes to 17%. Through the Tissenhoven-Moval Sprint. Over the next 2 climbs, they're then going to the Eichenberg climb, because there's only 3 categorised climbs today. 3 climbing segments, 2 sprint segments, up the Quermont, up the Pattenberg, into the finish. Going to be a cracker.
3 climb segments, 2 categorised sprints, 3 climbs non-categorised. Basically, the 3 lumps that you don't see in red are the Valkenberg, the Eichenberg Hill, and the Pattenberg. Those are your climbs as you go up and over that are not categorised and don't count for that points classification. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points on the standard sprint segments. As you can see, our 4 race starts are getting ready to go. So you've got category 3, 4, 5, and 6. Each category identified by that colour of jersey, also with the number on their back. They will be trading those jerseys for polka dot skin suits or green skin suits if they are leading in the points competition, which is cumulative. Each of those point segments, you amass the points by being the fastest through the segment, not first across the line. And that is absolutely critical. Now, in category 6, we have our teams. Intercontinental, Adriana Flores of Colombia, Veronica Arias of Colombia as well. We've got the level racing team, Alicia Razzo of the United States of America, and for level Phoenix, Lisa Hopkins of the United Kingdom. And a fair few other starters as well. It's a great race field, Em, and some very quick riders.
It is a really good race field. Don't let the fact there's only 12 riders on the start sheet be deceptive. Christabel Paulo took the win last week. Rachel Hooker was third. Adriana Flores was second. We've got the top 3 riders here. And Berlin Driscoll is back in the mix as well. Monica Hadjuk is here too. It's going to be a good race, this one.
I think category 6 is our standard race category. So it's off 5 minutes in front of category 5. And then there's a 5-minute gap basically between each of our categories, except for categories 3 to 2, where there is a 10-minute race gap. It's time for our first category to start here on qualifier race number 3 in February. It's time to go racing on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club. The lights go green. Our riders leave the pens and head out onto the course proper. And they start. It's all about making sure that you get into position. 6 kilometres of pancake blinking flat. There's just no other word for it, is there?
No, there isn't. And I'm having a little giggle in the studio because Birdie and Driscoll has gone off the front out the start pen, like she always does when she's here and in the mix in the start pen. Learned her lesson, getting a bad start once, never has a bad start ever now. Always goes out of the pen in the lead, always settles into the group. Perfect start shown to us from Driscoll.
You've got to learn from your mistakes. And I've made a few. I'm sure that's the start of a song.
I was going to say, that sounds like the start of a song.
Yeah, I think it's a song by Queen, by the incredible Freddie Mercury. But anyway, so yes, bad starts. I've had a few of those as well on races, and I had to be chasing back on again. I don't think I ever got back on any race I had a bad start. It's very, very difficult. You've got to be able to get that power down to get into the group. We're just in with Birdie and Driscoll at the moment. Let's just talk a little bit, Emma, about racing on the Sunday Race Club. Starts are critical. This is a flat start, 6K, but that doesn't mean that it is easy, because quite often we see this going very, very hard, and we see spikes as well where people are maybe going for the Ghent City Sprint to get those points as well, and that's always going to be an option on the way through.
It is indeed, and we're in with a race at the moment. One of the strong riders for the Intercontinental squad there, and you can see part and parcel of that leading pack. And it's important here to be in that leading pack, to settle in comfortably. Voos just off the back, she's going to make contention now with the group. We're going to have all the riders out of the start pen all together in the leading group, comfortably settling in. And I want to use the phrase conserving energy during this first 6 kilometres, getting the pace. There's a fine line. You've got to get the pace up to get the momentum up. They're rolling at around 30 kilometres an hour. Good job. Tick. Done. Settle into the group, save as much energy, conserve as much energy, because the climbs are coming. Once you get past that 6 kilometre marker, some of these climbs are very, very steep. They're not that long in comparison to some of the climbs we see on some of the other Sunday Race Club courses, but they are steep. They do take a very different type of effort, and conserving energy at the early stages here in Category 6, they're showing us perfect racecraft.
Yeah, and we were just seeing Veronica Arias in there. I mean, she's a rider who can comfortably finish. She can finish on the podium. She gets top fives in the qualifiers. We saw her in Tel Marib taking in January, taking a second place there. We saw her take a second place. I think it was in one of our qualifiers, in Qualifier Race 1 this month as well, on the Alula loop. And those are both loops which are not just one monster climb, are they? They're loops with multiple climbs. So this could well be a good day for Arias. We'll see whether or not she's able to get that power down. As you can see, we will be able to see multiple races in the show today. If you're new to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. 6 races simultaneously.
All live at the same time.
All live at the same time in the women's race. 6 race categories in the men's race. The categorization, the prize money, all equal across MyWhoosh as always. And of course, we've got amazing race fields in both our men's and women's race fields. Category 6 is our standard category, moving our way right the way up to Category 1, which is our elite race category. If you aren't new to MyWhoosh, and you've heard us say this 1,000 times, thank you very, very much for watching. We really appreciate the continued support. I know a number of people have been in touch this week telling us to watch all the shows, so thank you very much. We really do appreciate that. Let's run you through our riders and teams in Category 5. Our first step up from Category 6, Kitty Hawk Racing, Jessica Hamilton of New Zealand in representing those and captaining that team. For Level Jingo, we have Colombian rider Adriana Barco, Canadian rider Dominique Chalbois, and Filipino rider Runame Joy Mayer. They are but some of what is a real star-filled field. Over to you, Emma.
Yes, it is indeed.
Hello.
Well, I was just
you
taking
were so
a look.
focused on your stats there.
No, I was just taking a little look actually, because Georgia Perry finished first and took the climb competition in this category last week. Pila took second, Sudibayo took third, Giraldo took fourth, and Gavaria Arias took fifth, and the sprint competition. So as the green light goes go, I'm taking a look today. Will Arias contend the sprint with Jessica Hamilton? Because Hamilton has been so dominant in that sprint competition. It really is her target. And I tell you something, someone's taken a flyer out of the start pen, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was Jessica Hamilton as well. She is well known to get up and out of the pen quickly. She is well known to really stretch the legs. But no, it's Ange Quapp today. Look at that Adriana Barco, part and parcel of the chasing group. They are well up to pace very, very quickly out of the pen today because of that fast start from the Canadian rider. They are rolling and rolling just sub 40 kilometres an hour at the moment out the pen. Giraldo, Gentili, Sudibayo, Barker, Hamilton, Sarasu are all in the mix. Great clean start from those riders. Nobody off the back. Everybody in the mix. Category 5 are away.
And Adriana Barco, a real regular rider on MyWhoosh. I mean, the list of races she's participated in, it goes on and on and on. I'm scrolling and I'm getting repetitive strain injury. My fingers moving the screen down. Now, so far, she's raced so many races. Really interesting to see. I think her first race was in October in the Sunday Race Club. I think was back in 2022.
Well, the rider on our screen at the moment has been very much ever present as well, you know.
Yes.
Rona May Joy Mare, part and parcel of the Level Shinko Club. So that team, Barco, Charlebois and Mare, those 3 riders on that team, and you can see her there in her pain cave, the blue sky out the window open, the fans on to trying to keep the temperature down where she is at the moment. I say that, I'm just jealous because I'm cold in the studio this morning.
Yeah, and interestingly there, a rider there supporting the ADQ squad, the UAE ADQ women's race team, who had a fantastic UAE tour and been racing really, really strongly. The start of the road season is amongst us. It's really in
and
progress
the
out in
gravel
the Gulf
season.
States. The gravel season's also started. The mountain bike season has started as well. These are the big international races in terms of the professional pelotons. We've also got the conclusion of some of the cyclocross season. So some of the riders who race on the Sunday race will also race cyclocross. So that's completing. And of course, in the Southern Hemisphere, rather than the Northern Hemisphere, you still got the road season still rolling in towards its conclusion with lots of the championships going on. So really is a very, very busy seasonal changes. We don't get seasonal changes so much on MyWhoosh on the Sunday race because we are here each and every Sunday. So whilst it might affect the riders who come and race in their performances, not so much changing us here in the studio. And the team behind the scenes, got to say a big thank you. I'm saying this out early to the guys who are in the studio who bring us all of the images. A big, big thank you to them.
Well, we can do indeed. And can I just say, Category 6, we're in with Category 5 at the moment. They're about to go through the Ghent City Sprint. Category 6 have already been through this section, and Birdie and Driscoll has set the fastest time through the sprint and taken away the points from the Ghent City Sprint. So she will be in the green skin suit. Who's going to be in the green skin suit? Isabel Giraldo is contending it at the moment. She's up and out of the saddle, and she is pushing on. And you can see the stretch on this group of Category 5 riders. We've got one rider off the front at the moment, but Hamilton's kicking at 6 watts per kilo at the moment. Sarasu's digging deep as well as Giraldo and Barco. Who's going to pick up that green skin suit? It's going to be a tight competition in Category 5. It went to Ange Quap of Canada, but Jessica Hamilton has come through and absolutely dominated that sprint, as I predicted she would.
Indeed, no surprises there. We know that Hamilton targeting
good.
those sections in Category 5. Now let's go across to Category 4 because we have some really strong riders in Category 4 as well. The next step up from Category 5, 2 steps up from Category 6. My counting is on par and on form today. Right, let's bring you the teams. We have Pedal Queens from Germany, Tanja Hohweiler representing those. Tanja, a regular on the Sunday Race Club and a regular tough competitor. 14 Phoenix, a real mix of nationalities. From Colombia, we have got Camila Zulaga, we've got Dani Giraldo and Elena Lopez. From the United Kingdom, Cass Tonkinson. We also have got riders from New Zealand, Colombia, Australia, Czech Republic, Poland, Croatia, Brazil, Sweden, Italy, UAE, all over the globe. They're out and racing, up and racing. And one of our UK riders in the squad here, and this is going to be Johnson, who's up and away. I think Johnson racing for the what name team normally?
Well, Johnson, as you can see, up and out of the pen. Now, Johnson took the win last week in Colombia.
Congratulations.
Fabulous to see Rebecca Johnson pick up the top spot. She also took the climb competition overall. It's going to be a little bit different this week. Different type of climbing. Can Rebecca Johnson do the double? That is going to be a good question. Pekka Kova took the win the week before, but Dowling, De Gracia, Holweiler and Kokkonen were the other riders on the podium, the top 5 last week in Category 4. Johnson took that win in 95 minutes, 55 seconds. Pekka Kova took the sprint competition last week, so that was really interesting after having taken the win the week before, targeting something different, focusing on something else other than the overall. So really, really interesting to see. So Catherine Tompkinson, Giraldo, Katarina Coe, Ella Vink, all in the pack. The pack rolling strongly and very tight together, widely spread across the road, indicating a very similar pacing from all of our riders at the moment. And take a look at that. We're in with Kath Tompkinson at the moment.
And Kath Tompkinson, part of that Team Phoenix squad. The Phoenix squad. I was really impressed by them last week, I have to say. I thought they rode really, really well and rode well as a squad together as well. There seemed to be some cohesion. Interesting to see. Tompkinson's got the course plan, the profile, just down below her TV screen there. Kath,
smart.
put it on some masking tape at the bottom of your screen. Tip from the studio here, masking tape on the course plan and then tape it to the bottom of your TV screen.
Not
and then
that
you can
that's
see
what
it
he's done
easier.
here in the studio.
Not that it's done there, unless, of course, it's your sight line is interrupted by the fans in front of you, which I think they may be looking at that. So you've got to drop them below
She's
the fan
just
to
said
see
to
them.
you, shh, don't give away her secrets.
I wouldn't do a thing like that, honest. Us talk about what you're up to in your pain caves on the show. No, not at all. And if you want to let us know any of your secrets, please feel free, but do mark them as confidential if you don't want us to put them out on air.
Yeah, but I can imagine. I reckon 70% of riders have an annotated map in front of them.
I would hope that our riders have done their homework and are not just racing on feel and reactive. But
I don't know. Some people might like to race on feel and reaction.
well, that is usually me, but I like to I like to have the knowledge first and then race and ride, react and have that as a race feel. So knowledge plus emotion, not just
one or the other.
One or the other.
Ooh,
it's not a
get
binary
you.
combination. It's almost multitasking, I know.
Careful. Well, Jessica Hamilton is indeed in that green skin suit, signifying she's picked up the most points in the sprint competition in Category 5. Birdie and Driscoll is resplendent in green as well in Category 6, having achieved the same goal. Now, Matt, tell us a little bit about that sprint competition.
You sprint, you get points, you take away the prize, you get the most points at the end of the race. No, that is.
Well, technically, that is true.
That is 100% true. Now, we do have a little bit of time until we see our Category 2 riders. There was a big pack in there already to say that we're at 11 minutes to go. As Category 4 come through the sprint, this sprint is absolutely key. Set the foundation now and get those muscles activated, key. We'll go from the back of the group to the front. Pekka Kova goes through at pace, takes that skin suit, and you just saw the jersey there change. So went from red and black to a green skin suit with a number 4 on, indicating the sprint leader in Category 4. Now, that's the first allocation of points, so even I can work out the winner is going to take those points.
Well, I can tell you, Pekka Kova did indeed take the sprint, but boy, did she run Idzik close to the wire. What a phenomenal effort from those two riders.
Well, we'll see what Category 3 can do when they get to that sprint. Hopefully, we're just in with Anya Kinsella here on the start line. Category 3. We're into the second half of our categories. The Brits Babes, named after the legendary Bridget Kibble from New Zealand, I suspect. We've got Leah Sophie Rammett that you saw on your replay, sprint superstar from Germany, and her countrywoman Eva Essler, all part of that Brits Babes team. The Freewheeling Spirits, Barbara Bullalara, Gemma Daniels, Carolina Leinonen, and Valentina Desegna from Poland, the United Kingdom, Finland, and Italy, respectively. Now, the Rosa Blanca, that's Holly Bergin from the United Kingdom, and of course, Golden Light representing Team Golden Light. Away, up and racing, hitting the race slopes, and very quickly kicking up to speed at the moment.
Well, can I tell you, Category 3 for me, 34 riders on the start sheets today. It is a packed race field. So Sylvia Guerilla from the Sunday crew and Rian Denton have gone up to Category 2. Those two were 1 and 2 in this category last week. In fact, Guerilla took the climb as well, which leaves us third place, Kiddle. Fourth place, Ramup. She also took the sprint, both of those on the Brit Babes squad. The rest of this pack, I mean, honestly, you've got Brittany Litton, Carolina Alzat, Dana Davidson, Fee Osterby, Geneva Ellos, Hannah Goodall, Jenny Daniels, Julia Walkenhurst, Catherine Montoya, Katie Banerjee, Kimber Niller, the under-23 rider from the Philippines, who's been going really well out on the road recently. Maria Wilhelm is in here, Mim Taylor, Philippa Hill, Rosa Herrera. I could literally nearly read the entire list. And if I've missed your name out, it's not for the want of reading it.
No, indeed not. And I have to say, I'm very, 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 very impressed with the racing that comes from Category 3 now. It's almost become the new Category 2.
Well, we did see Category 3 go faster in Qualifier 1 than
Yes.
Category 2 for the first time ever. And that is not because they are all faster riders than Category 2. It's because of the way they raced the race.
Yes, and the way that you race, and that for me, it's been so aggressive. It is Sophie Ramat. We saw her on that sprint in the rewise. I'm hoping that she's back up for the sprinting. That's going to be happening
I don't know.
very
I think
very
this
shortly.
course could suit her today. You know.
I think so. Big effort, repeat efforts. I mean, the Kortekia top part, the climb, the Disselhoven Molen sprint, Ghent City sprint, Valkenburg climb short, Pattenberg, the critical final climb, 800 meters long.
Yeah.
That's a proper sprint effort. I love that climb.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite climbs on this
I actually
race.
think that this course could suit her today, and she could be a new name on the top step.
But being able to sprint is not necessarily an indication that you're going to be right at the front of the race at the end of today's race, because you've got to hang in on the climbs. We're in with Category 6, and they're on the way up the Kortekia at 7.3 kilometers at the moment. They are on the lower slopes. It will dip and drop. You can see top right-hand side of your screen that our rider's position is indicated by the yellow vertical bar. The screen rolls from right to left, so we'll see the summit, the first part of this. It's a two-stage summit though, because we go up to the top, we drop back down again, then we climb almost past the same point, but right to the very top of the climb and over the top. That is in a little while, but here we go. We are coming in with Category 3 at the moment. We are fast approaching the run in at the moment as we go back in with our Category 6 rider. This is Monica Hadjuk.
But look at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen.
Yeah.
That's my favourite shot. And actually, you can see it here in Category 3 as well. The stretch on the group, it gives you where the riders are. And when we start getting into those climbs, you can really, really notice it. Well, Category 3 going through the sprint at the moment, and two riders off the back, but the push is on from the front. Kiddle absolutely motoring. So's Desenia. Bergin and is in there too. But the push is coming from the front. Fastest time may come from the back. It's going to be really interesting to watch this one play out.
So to signal one of our real quick riders kicking onto the front there, but losing that jersey. You saw it briefly going onto her shoulders, the green skin suit, but then Montoya, as Emma indicated, going from the back of the group to the front, making the most of the advantage of sitting in the draft. And by sitting in the draft, able then to make the most of that on the way through. I'm going to be really interested to see. Now, Emma, you made a little bit of a prediction, a little prediction.
Did I?
You did, because you said that we may well see Leah Sophie Ramat going for the overall today.
Yes.
in there. You implied it by saying that this may be
I
a
did,
course
because
that
I think
suited
this
her.
course will suit her.
I didn't see Leah Sophie Ramat sprinting for that. I want to see whether her watts. Did she sprint for that, or did she sit that out and let the rest of the riders contest it?
I would say, taking a look at where Rama is,
From the numbers.
She pushed through the sprint to make sure she stayed in the front group, but she didn't actually contest the sprint because contesting the sprint,
Excellent.
Catherine Montoya versus Valentina Desenia. Montoya 11.1 watts per kilo average through that sprint. Desenia 10.7. They went head to head. Bridget Kiddle dug in as well, but I can tell you, Montoya takes the green skin suit. Barbara Bulwara, she wasn't part and parcel at that sprint either, because I think she'll be in the mix later as well.
Well, she's gone over the top here chasing. What we've seen, as you see that kick going through, the sprint came back together again, and Lytton and Dijkstra have gone for this.
Look at the stretch on that
really
group on the bottom left-hand corner.
So seeing Brittany Lytton go over the top, go through, kick out and off into the distance, and then...
Smart move.
See the chase behind.
Seriously,
great counter-attack after the sprint. Brilliant counter-attack after the sprint. To see Brittany Lytton in the mix here and attack him.
It's a real strong tactic here. We have seen it played out before, and it always catches riders out, and I never know why, because most of them now should know it is a classic Sunday Race Club tactic. Go through the sprint. When everybody else starts to sit up, you go. Or you just keep going.
Now, one thing worth thinking about here, Brittany Lytton's gone for this. Now, I'm just going to rewind something here, and I'm going to put it out there. I said that the Brits base may well be named after Bridget Kiddle.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're named after Brittany Lytton.
Do you?
I do, and I think Brittany Lytton is actually part of that team. Even though my start sheet's right in front of me here, it doesn't say she's part of that team.
Be correct.
I am going to. I may have seen this on social media earlier on. Brits Babes, Leah Sophie Ramat.
You are allowed to get your information
Bridget
from
Kiddle,
wherever it is publicly
Eva
available.
Estler, and Brittany Lytton all together and we know that Brittany Lytton is a real Pied Piper when it comes to bringing people into cycling esports, and I suspect that is the case here. I'm sure somebody will let us know.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, but it's taking a look at the riders now coming back to this leading group, and that's what they're doing, trying to come back from the back of that long stretch pack after that attack from Lytton after the sprint, and all back together again. Well, that's category 3. We're back in with category 5 and category 6. Category 6 are going to be the first riders to summit the Quarter Keer today, last using the Tour of Flanders in 1988, or should I say first using the Tour of Flanders in 1988. I can't even read my own notes today.
It's not a good sign, is it?
I might need some new contact lenses if anybody's got any out there. But at the moment on the right-hand side of the screen...
You can't just put anybody else's contact lenses. It don't work like that.
Does it not?
No.
That's a
probably,
shame. It'd be good if it did, wouldn't it? Anyway.
Did you do the same when you came in the studios today? You went,
maybe that's the issue. I put your contact lenses in instead of mine. Did you leave any hanging around the studio? Did I pick up the wrong pair?
Well, maybe. I'll tell you something. You'd be able to see about 10 million miles to stay in my eyes.
Well, at the moment, I'll tell you something who's 10 million miles ahead, and that's Melanie Skitko at the moment in this category 6 race. Rachel Hooker and Christabel Paolo are the two riders we can see on the screen. But Sitko is well clear of that race field at the moment. Coming up onto the back of the Category 6 race field are Category 5, Ange Quapp, Georgia Perry, Amy Sudabayo, Ferron are in there as well, and they are all pushing strongly on the climb.
So you can see Category 6, bottom right-hand side of your screen, heading up towards the main summit. You can see on the bottom left-hand side, Category 5, just behind there at the base of the second part of the Quarter Keer climb. At the base, well, halfway up the first stage of stage 1 of the Quarter Keer climb. And that is the riders on the top left-hand side of your screen in red. There are Category 4 riders. Our Category 2 riders, they are just sat down in the pens. They're in the green skin suits, or green jerseys. Need more coffee. As you can see, lots of teams here today. So we have the Sunday Crew 2.0 from Italy, Silvia Correa. We're going to see CD Racing Teams, Anna Caramello of Portugal. We're going to see Velocity Vikings, 4 riders in their squad. They've brought them in strength. Well, have they brought their battle axes, or have they come to trade? It's Anna Embring, Anna Svardstrom, along with Julia Montgomery and Sarah London, all from Sweden. The Globetrotters, they are here as well. And don't forget, of course, we've got the core squad here, and that is Dorothy Gonzalez-Rur, Joanna Kalman, Carolina Kolkowitz, and Matilda Field from Colombia, Poland, and Australia, respectively.
Well, the Category 2 race field, 34 riders on the start sheets today. And, well, we mentioned Gorea and Denton coming up from Category 3. Stephanie Briggs is here, Pia Kuma, Megan Stevens, Manuela Vasquez, Manshandi, Tucanis, Karamani, Prado, Eck, Giannatti, Paulson, De Silva. It is a stacked race field today, Category 2. We're in with Sophie Giovanni in the moment. You can see the fans are on, the windows are open as they go out the start pen. She's right on the front of the field with Leanne Fene at the moment as well. Megan Stevens and Jenny Eck are in there too. Big race field. Fast-paced, I think they're going to roll on this first 6 kilometres. Megan Stevens picks up the mantle on the front of the group.
And am I right in thinking that Sophie Giovanni had gone up into Category 1 for a couple of weeks and then has dropped back down into Category 2?
Yes. She's not the only person to have dropped back down into Category 2.
There's been quite a lot of movement, actually, on that border between the two.
And it's interesting to see. But Liz Van Hooling has dropped down to Category 2 as well, which, if I'm going to be honest about, I was a little surprised with, having watched her race through the Echelon Racing League, but...
Oh, yeah, but the Echelon Racing League, what was the race distance?
It was shorter. It was much shorter.
Sort of 25, 27k, wasn't it?
Yeah, about around 26. I think the longest race was 34, but they were roughly sub 30k. So significantly different racing
So very
distances.
different. So if you
very different courses.
And if you're really good on those shorter courses, you may not be so good, or take some transition time to move over to the longer courses, because this is a long course. Quick reminder, 45 kilometers with 492 meters of climbing. There are 6 climbs here today, 3 of which are categorized. So that means that you've got a tough day out at the office, but it is a course for me that I really like. And I think I'm going to say this is a nice blanket sweeping statement. This is a course for category 2 racers.
Is it? Short,
Yes.
sharp, punchy.
It is. Category 1 will enjoy it as well, I suspect. They're down in the pens, currently on 3 minutes to go, so a little bit of time ticking for them to get warmed up and ready. That was your 3-minute warning. If you're old enough to remember what the 3-minute warning was, it didn't sound like that, believe me. I remember a test for a 3-minute warning once. That shows you my age.
Oh, well, let's move on, shall we? Because Kasani Garish, Nati Prado, they are all in the mix here. And tell you something, this pack is rolling strongly, already over 40 kilometres an hour. And really working well. But the pace is it's quite fast at the moment, even though, well, I would say pretty steady state at the moment. Mina Koinstonen in the mix, Jenny Eck in the mix as well. German Prado here too.
And we're going to head into the sprint here. We're in with German Prado. Prado, a real fast rider. We know just how strong she is. And I think we're going to see Prado today. This is a course that could suit German Prado for sure. It's climbs plus sprints. We're coming into a sprint here in category 2 with Prado. Let's watch what happens in this sprint. We're going to hit the start. Remember, it's about coming from the back to the front. You try and go from the front, you're going to struggle, but we're seeing the kick. Embring starting to wind up. The riders on the front here going to kick through. It's not impossible to win this from the front, but it is incredibly difficult, and that means that if you come from the back to the front, look at Prado, look at the effort.
What
there.
A shot!
Sprinting as she comes in and through. Great kick from Prado. Is it enough? We're going to see. Has she got the skin suit? We're looking, we're hunting. It's going to go, I think, to Helen McKay, who takes the sprint prize in category 2. So McKay coming through. And the rider from the United Kingdom there just taking away the fastest time through the sprint. But now I have to see if there's a kick on and over. We're about to go into category 1. Go on, Emma, quickly.
Well, I was just going to say it was Pia Kuma last week that took the sprint in category 2. So good to see McKay getting in the mix and taking it early.
Right, let's dive down into category 1. Well done to our sprinters in category 2. You've got plenty more chances. Well, one more on the way through, but most of these climbs count as sprints. Let's go to our teams. Fully calibrated, Cornelia Engstrom, Elise Gallegos, the Ablock International Squad, Maria Holcroft, and Mika Soderstrom. We've got Supernova here, Amelia Van Hove, Francesca Tomasi. We then go from our squads of 2 to our squads of 3, and that is a Sweat Sensation squad, Amelia Velt, Catherine Fur, and Merle Brune. And then with 4 riders in the mix, Thundercats, Gabby Guerra, Kristen Kolczynski, Marlon Bjerhead, and Celine Columbi. That is almost 2/3 of our race field.
Yes, 21 riders on the start sheets, those 5 teams. Can I just congratulate Dana Wagner and Elsa Haag for coming up into category 1 this week. Congratulations, you are alongside Kate McCarthy, the world champion in those rainbow stripes, that's the words I'm looking for. Gabby Guerra on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of the Thundercats. Can I also say a big congratulations to Tiffany Penner, who is on the start sheet at the moment, who took the Canadian Championships title, the National Cycling Esports title, on Sunday last week.
We're in. Yes, congratulations, Tiffany. But I tell you something, that title didn't mean she stopped training either, because Tiffany Penner has been putting in some serious...
Cool, do you see those box jumps she does in the gym?
Box jumps and the sprints against the band.
Oh.
The band with the rubber band against the machine, and then really pushing away. I mean...
Commitment to task.
And this is after winning the Canadian Championship. So this is a rider who clearly is looking to progress. I'm really impressed with Tiffany. I've been very impressed with all our riders. I always have, because I'm just in awe of them. It doesn't matter what category, but Tiffany Penner, really great training regime. And it's great. I've got to say a big thank you, everybody. If you are racing on the Sunday Race Club, do please get in touch. Send a message on @MattFixerPain to me, and just send me a message just so that I know to make sure that we can follow you and make sure that we keep up with all your training, because it's really helpful for us, and at biking _Emma as well. Now, Francesca Tomasi, a rider that I know that we've been keeping check on,
Fourth
because
last week.
fourth last week, a rider who rode aggressively last week as well.
Yeah, she did.
And to say that last week was in theory a pan flat 30k, 39k course and a 4k climb at the end. Oh no, it didn't ride like that, not whatsoever. There were some real kicks and bumps. This is a course for me that Tomasi could well excel at, because this is about putting in aggressive efforts and then recovering well. And I think Tomasi's recovery is really good.
Well, this is really interesting for me because previously, when the women have raced in Belgium, they've raced a 35-kilometre course.
Yep.
And that course has stopped between the Eichenberg climb and the Quermont climb on today's race course. So today, they will continue past the point where they would have seen the banner, and then they have the Quermont and the Pattenberg to do in that final 10 kilometres, which is new to all of the women racing in Belgium today.
It's new, unless they've been wrecked the route, which you can do. You can go out and ride these climbs. So just seeing our first two polka dot wearers on our screen. We're just now seeing category 3 go over the top. So we now have our 4 polka dot jerseys in a category 6, 5, 4 and 3. So you can see Melanie Skitko, the rider who has taken it in category 6. In category 5, it's Georgia Perry. In category 4, Rebecca Johnson. And in category 3,
I'm dancing in the studio.
Leah Sophie Rammett.
Come on,
Emma's
Lee
predictions
Sophie
come on.
Rammett. I said to you this was a course that was going to suit her, didn't I? And she's gone over the top of the Courtiquet climb in the lead in category 3. Phenomenal riding, really great job from the Brits Babes rider, Lee Sophie Rammett. She's on your screen at the moment. She's gone over the climb. She's got company now because Kiddle and Lytton have joined her. I tell you something, that is one squad.
It's a great squad, and you notice the earphones are in. That's the communication. So at the moment, she's just on the phone on the on the left-hand side, our right, her left, phone there. Discord probably talking to the team. The squad are amazingly strong, potentially also with the show in the background. Right, her right, our left, bike computer on there. And the squad have handed it out. They split the group massively. There's at least 2 groups on the road, if not 3. Rammett's down the road by a couple of seconds with Kill, with Lytton, Leinonen and Koa chasing.
They are, and it's going to come back together again, I think, those 2 front groups. But then there's a huge distance back to group number 3 on the road.
And it may well be that they're actually then watching for the sprinters coming behind. Not on a sprint, but onto a climb. Is category 2. So the penultimate to top category, next to last to top, which is basically category 2. Onto the climb, the Courtiquet climb here. It's a 3.9k climb. The average gradient is 2.5%, and that is just bobbins, to be brutally honest.
Well, no.
It is, no, it might be.
Technically, it is correct.
It's still bobbins, though, because realistically, it's the most useless stat in the world ever.com.
Yeah, but you know what a bobbin is?
I do know what a bobbin is.
It's not got a lot to do with bike racing.
No, but it's bobbins is a very old phrase.
More to do with sewing.
It's not to do with sewing. It's to do with machine weaving.
Oh, well, there you go then.
From
Craft.
the old industrial machinery
Craft.
from the turn of the Industrial Revolution. If you want your history, don't challenge me on my history knowledge. Come on,
bobbins.
Random, it's bobbins. But it is basically a climb of 2 parts, because we have the first part of the climb. This is a longer section, and it does get steep towards the end. You can see that on the course profile. It steepens up as you go up this climb. We've got a little bit of a flattening of, and then it kicks again, and then it steepens as well. Pareto working well in the group there. I am loving the fan assistance in the background, the cooling assistance. Big fan of the fan, fanning in the background. Excellent work. That is brilliant to see.
That has got to be the best pain cave shot we've seen in a long time.
Please, can you do that with a big palm front next time as well, just for the full effect of having your crew keeping you cool?
Well, I'll tell you something, the work is on at the moment, and she needs as much airflow around her as possible, because Sarah London, Rhiannon Denton, Jermaine Prado, Rianne Denton, Sophie Giovanni are all right up in the mix here. Embring is here, Tridden is here, Field is. This is a who's who of Category 2. We've got one or two riders dropped off the back of this group at the moment, but look at the size of that pack.
And this is one of the key things here on this climb. You've got to be in. We're about to hit the steep slopes. This is where it really kicks now. Come around this right-hand bend onto the left. And as it goes around the left, now the gradient's going up over 11%, over 12%. Here we go. We're heading for those big 17% numbers. As you come around this left-hand turn, you can see the grind is coming. And Prado really pushing on those pedals. If you can split the group, go over the top here, you can carry the pace down into the second part, but you've got to have something left for the downhill kick here. Anybody distance will be in trouble. Category 2 on the main part of the climb. Category 3 further up the climb. This is Category 2. Left turn down. We're going to go over the top of this steep section. We're at 9. 8. We'll drop down to about 7 here at the moment. Kasani at the moment riding strongly in with this group. Gets out of the saddle, dances on those pedals. She's been up this climb plenty of times before. She knows what's going to come. There's another little kick. It's going to rise up here. The gradient will go back up again. Here we go. 6, now 7. And climbing as you go round the right-hand turn. And then we're into the descent. What was 2 distinct groups is now a line of riders. Where this split comes, who can get back on before the second part of this climb is key. You need to be in the mix. London, Van Heuling, Kasani, looks like Giovanni in the very front of this group. And I'll tell you something, Sarah London climbing phenomenally, really putting the pressure on. She's on the left-hand side of the screen, and she is tapping out a super smooth rhythm here. This is now about building momentum. Drive on the descent. There is a group at the front. If they push now, they could open a gap and distance 2/3 of this race field if they're not careful. I think it'll come back together to some degree, but how much is open to question?
Well, Van Heuling in the mix. She's right on the front with London and Giovanni. That is a triumvirate of phenomenal riders leading the Category 2 race at the moment. The rest of them now coming back together. But you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, Heuling in the pain cave. But on the screen, that group, that push has established a big gap now. So we've got the leading group in Category 2. Big gap back now to the chasers. They're motoring now on the descent here. They're on the flatlands. It's going to drop again before they get to the flat section, before the main descent off the Kortekeer and through the Tissenhoven-Moven sprint. Is it going to come back together? I don't think it is. I think the selection to the front group of Category 2 has been made.
If you're in the front group and you let anyone behind now join, you're slacking. You really are slacking, because this is key. They are coming and they are starting to close that gap down behind, and that will put the front group there. It's a wasted opportunity, and you've got to take these moments when they come. Get a gap, open the gap, make sure it stays. Don't let it come back together again on a downhill where riders are maybe not having to work as hard to close that gap. Make them close it with a big effort. Now, let's see what's going to happen in Category 1. We're in with Dana Wagner. We're on our way into the climb. Dana Wagner with that world champion cyclocross masters jersey in the background there. I'm loving the routing arrow pointing uphill as well in the background. And Dana Wagner, a rider who really, I think, could make herself very at home here today, because this is a course that suits a determined rider. Interestingly, just taking a little look at the sprint, it is the sprint queen herself, the superstar sprinter, Bridget Filensky, who has got the sprint jersey. No surprises there. If you were going to be working on something, it would be Bridget Filensky taking a sprint.
Well, I'll tell you something, she's taking it in style as well. I was going to give you her average watts, but I'm going to give you her average heart rate through the sprint. So Filensky takes the sprint 20.767 in Category 1. And you can see the number ones in all the categories. And this is an interest. Oh, I love this graphic. So you can see Category 1, Filensky. Category 2, McKay. Category 3, Montoya. Category 4, Pekakova. Category 5, Hamilton. And Category 6, Driscoll. And you can see from 20.7 through to 26.7. Oh, nice symmetry there. I like that. But what I was going to tell you, Filensky's average heart rate through that effort, 193. She was pushing.
And the other thing I like here is the fact that that is my new favourite graphic.
I like that. It's good, isn't it?
Thanks, team. In the background there, they might not be on the mic, but they do so much of the harder graft in the background, making this race comprehensible with so many different race categories.
Well,
now,
can I put
onto the climb?
Take a look at this, because this is the second part of the Quarter in Category 2. We saw a fair-sized group go away, and now we're seeing a stretch on that group. And look at it on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So Field, Giovanni, Van Hooling, Manshandi, Embring, the 5 riders at the front pushing to go underneath the Quarter polka dot banner first. They do indeed. So Giovanni, Van Hooling, Field, Polson, Manshandi, Embring, Ek, Kuma, Tridin, Kolkowitz, Karamani and Gonzalez Rua go through. Lundin, Vittori, Kasani and Denton, 16 riders come through afterwards. And then we've had Kalman. Oh, they're just coming through now in 1s, 2s and 3s. 21 riders now through the top of the Quarter climb in Category 2, but they are not all together.
They're not. They're not all together by any stretch of the imagination. And this, for me, now is key. It's a long run from the top of the Quarter. It is downhill, basically, from the 9.9 kilometre mark, which is when you go over the summit of the Quarter climb, all the way to the Thissenhoven Molen Sprint, which is windmill. For those people who don't speak Dutch. So you run down to that at 12.4 kilometres. That downhill section from this climb, really key about pushing onwards and making that gap stick.
Well, this group of Category 5 riders, oh, it's interesting. They are on the top of the Valkenburg, a non-categorised climb. Quap, Ferron, Perry, sort of Bio, Charlebois are leading the race now. They have gone past the leader in Category 6. Category 6 started 5 minutes before Category 5, and this group are now the leaders on the road. So 4 riders at the head of the Category 5 race, a gap back to Charlebois, a gap back to Pila, and Roname Joy Mayer is with Bettina Pila at the moment. So it is 4, 1, 2 in the Category 5 race.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm really impressed. This section here.
Category 6, mind you, 2 riders together. Rachel Hooker has closed the gap.
Yes, Skitko had got a little bit of gap. Hooker had gone clear, but that gap has come down. Skitko just taking the climb points over the Quarter. This is the This is the top of the Valkenburg. So if you haven't seen the race before, when we were doing the 35k, this was a categorized climb just prior to this, and then it's got a long top. And what is really this section of 3 hills? It now really this course is divided into thirds for me. You got the front third, which is the flat run in, and then the Quarter climb and its descent. You've then got 3 climbs together: the Valkenburg, the Eichenberg Hill, and then the Eichenberg climb. And the Eichenberg climb is categorized. The first of these, the Valkenburg, you can see this flat top through the top of the lake. It's a long flat section. You've then got a rounded top to the Eichenberg Hill, and then you've got almost a knife edge, sawtooth profile to the Eichenberg climb. The further through the second third you go, the more critical it is to be with the group, because you have less catchback time.
Well, talking about being with the group, we're dropping in with Category 1. They're at the top of the first part of the Quarter, and I think that is 8 riders in the group. So Holcroft, Guerra, Fua, Bruni, McCarthy, Kolczynski, all in the front group. They're being joined again. Look, red cap, 2 riders. So Tomasi is there as well. And you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we've got the leading group. We've got a small group a little bit further back, and then 1 rider mainly distanced. So a strong start in Category 1 up the Quarter, but not definitive.
No, not definitive at all. Now, just taking a look at category 2, they're coming into the Thyssenhoven-Molen sprint, the second of 2 sprints today. This is going to be key for taking away the sprint win here today. Remember, it's the points from sprint 1 and sprint 2 added together. Giovanni is contesting this. She's sitting in the wheels. I don't think she wants to let the gap go to lose touch with the race lead. That's not a full-on sprint from Giovanni. She's marking the wheels, though. It's going to put her in good stead in terms of being in the right position. Whether or not she's done enough to take the points, I very much doubt it as they go in through. Pia Kuma in here in the mix, one of our regular sprinters, but I think it is going to be Denton who takes away the overall win. Did she take that sprint win as well?
She did indeed. So, oh, well, I say she did, but Megan Stevens has just come
it's just
through.
Changed. It has changed. The overall lead has changed as well.
It is live. You don't have to be in the front group to take the sprint competition.
We're going to dive back into those results on that sprint competition in a moment because we're in with category 1 and the world champion, Mary Kate McCarthy of New Zealand, has gone to the front, being tracked here by Gabriela Guerra. Gabby quickly out of the saddle. In fact, you can see her live on your screen there. Nathan in the background making sure. Nathan, coach, of course, for Gabby, and making sure that she's hitting all the right numbers, making sure that she's got that moral support. I'm sure making sure that she's in the right place just in case Gabby misses anything, which she's very good at marking the moves and she's very good at knowing when to attack. I tell you something, this is a 3-rider star breakaway. Mary Kate McCarthy, Gabriela Guerra, Catherine Fua, all 3 medalists at the World Championships in Abu Dhabi back in October. The same 3 medalists on the front of the race here. They're on the front. Guerra's going to go over the top first. She should take away the polka dot skin suit. Now, do these 3 riders go or do they wait?
Well,
should I stay or should I go?
Well, should I stay or should I go? Good question. But Holcroft, 6 seconds back, is leading the charge, but it is at 6 seconds. Now is the decision making for McCarthy, Guerra, and Fua. And I'll tell you something, McCarthy is pushing on at the moment. They want to make the most of that gap, I think. And you can see the Qualifier climb winners. So the first climb of the day, the first categorized climb, Guerra sets the fastest time up there, 7 minutes, 10 seconds. Giovanni, category 2, 7:39. Ramut, category 3, 8:09. Johnson, category 4, 8:53. Perry, category 5, 9:45. And Skitko from category 6, 11 minutes 56. So our 6 categories, those are the 6 fastest times, well, resplendent in each of those categories over the top of the Qualifier today.
So you can see those runners going through. And remember, each of our segments has its own individual prize award. So you can take away money for taking the segment as well as the overall. Category 1, interestingly, that gap has not diminished. In fact, it has grown. It was looking at 10 seconds at the last count, but I'm expecting that to go up and down as these riders go through the descent. So you can see as our category 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 are all out on the race route. Category 1, the last of our riders to start. They are the furthest back on the road, but the leaders on the road at the moment are category 5. They are the leaders. They've overtaken the category 6 leaders. Category 4, 3, 2, and 1 are chasing.
Well, talking about chasing, Guerra, McCarthy, and Fua, the leading 3 in category 1. The chasing group, Holdcroft, Kolchinsky, Bruni, and Velt, along with Alberg, Tomasi, are in that chasing group.
Nice little pause there. Let the racing breathe. It's a nice phrase. Okay, so time to go in with our front group. I'm just taking a look at the gap. The gap has come down on this descent.
They're coming back
they
together.
are coming back together again. Holcroft might get in touch with the lead group. So it's called Chinsky. Alberg is distant. So it is 2 riders that come across. I make that 5 now. Is there 3?
So Holdcroft, Kolchinsky, and Bruni.
That's 3
That's
plus 3
3
is 6.
plus 3 is 6.
Thanks for that maths lesson today. I probably need it. Always need it. So on the way down the course, the race leaders in category 1 at 11.8k. The chase behind. Well, there are riders. This is Arlberg, Tomasi, Velt, Hug, and Penner. Interestingly, Tomasi's in here with Arlberg and Velt. That's the group of 3. We're in with Francesca Tomasi at the moment. They have got 10 seconds to make up on that leading group if they can get there. And then behind, you have a 20-second gap to Penner and Hug at the moment.
You do indeed, and it's going to be really interesting. And the push is on at the moment. Tomasi's setting a really strong pace. So Tomasi sitting on the front of this group with Camilla Arberg. We can see her in her pain cave at the moment, setting a strong time trialing pace. And I've seen her do that before. You know, the gap has been established. She sits in at a strong time trialing pace, and then she pulls it back.
And that gap at the moment is coming down slightly because of the pressure that's being put on, and the group working better together, better behind than the group in front. They're going to come in through this sprint, and this gap is coming down. You can see it on the left-hand side of your screen. When we were in with Tomasi, I actually saw the lead group in the distance on the screen. I think we're going to see them coming from below. Gabby Guerra, Kristen Kulczycki, and Co all going through here. Now, this sprint is up for grabs. There's a points and there's a segment prize available here. Kulczycki put a kick in. Guerra's gone to go over the top. Holcroft is going at it as well. It's going to be about who started furthest back in that group, who's going to take away that point. Holcroft going to take it. So Holcroft now takes the second of our sprints here and is going to take away the overall, I think, dependent on what Filensky does behind, because you cannot discount Filensky from coming behind.
No.
Remember, these results that you see on your screen, covering each of our race categories. Now, just seen Velt go through, faster time. Velt's just gone through, just gone to the top of those standings.
Take a look. The fastest time overall, Category 3, Catherine Montoya. You do not have to be in Category 1 set the fastest time through the sprint. Anna Svardström, then Natalia Idzik in Category 4. Jessica Hamilton in Category 3. In fact, Category 1 setting the slowest, fastest time.
The race overall is on. The riders are having to focus on keeping a consistent pace. If you're not a rider, imagine trying to jog along and then down the road, and then we tell you to go sprint between the nearest lamp post or from
a bit of fartlek.
Yeah, better fartlek. Basically, sprint your way down and put in your fastest pace you can possibly put out. But then when you get to the end of that little 100-meter sprint, what we're going to ask you to do, we're not going to ask you to just take a rest and get your breath back, but you've got to continue pushing on that pace. You're not going to be able to do it. And that is why when the chase is on and the pressure is on in the race overall, you'll see a steady pace, because you cannot go sprinting and hold the fastest steady pace that you can.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm now going to say is Tomasi and Velt have made it back to the leading group. So Tomasi and Velt bringing back the leading group in Category 1. 3 became 6. They are now 8.
So great riding from behind. That's taken 2 more riders into the mixed category on the left-hand side of your course. The leading group of riders in Category 1. They're the furthest back of our leaders. By no means the furthest back on the course at 14.3k. At 25.2k, well over half race distance now. You can see the leaders on the road. Amy Sudabayo, along with Sandra Ferron and Georgia Perry, with Ange Quatba for company. 4-rider leading group, a quartet of riders on the front. They are making the way over the top here at 25k of the Eichenberg Hill. So instead of the flat platform of the Valkenburg, there is the rolling top of the Eichenberg Hill, and then they'll go on to the Eichenberg climb after this one, which is the segmented climb from 27.4 to 29 kilometers. Behind them, you can see that we have Category 4 chasing. They've just caught Elisa Kirchner of Category 5. They are on the same climb, but they're at the base of the climb, whereas Category 5 are at the very top of the climb, or, well, 100 meters or so off there. Now, top right-hand side of your screen, Category 2. Not seeing too much of Category 2 here today. They are now making their way up onto the Valkenburg. So they are currently at 18.5k. The Valkenburg, the first of the 3 hills, the middle section of this course, part 1, is the Kortekeer and to the Thistlehoven-Molen sprint. From the Thistlehoven-Molen sprint to the far side of the Eichenberg climb, part 2. Then you've got the long flat section into our finale. the Quermont climb, the descent down the Paterberg climb, and then sprint into the fortified citadel. That is the race finish. Category 2, you're in with Sarah London at the moment. Now at the saddle here on this climb, tapping out a rhythm, a rider who rode so strongly on the climbs. She hasn't at the moment had the fastest time. It's Sophie Giovanni who is holding the fastest time up the climb segment of the Cortakia, but do not discount London. She was looking super smooth earlier on. I suspect that's going to be the same again as we go up. Giovanni, the rider who we're in with now, that's the rider with the polka dot skin suit, showing that she's got the climbing prowess on the Cortakia. A long two-stage climb. You could almost call it 2 climbs instead of 1, although it is almost 1 climb section because
we don't.
it goes through. We don't know. I like to get as much value out of the climbing as possible. Let's face it.
Well, but Prado at the moment, Giovanni, Van Hooling, London, Kuma, Denton, all trying to get as much value as possible out of the climbing.
Well, you've got to. I mean, I'm going to just dive out and say. You can see German Prado here, right? I'll tell you something. I'm not sure who's going to be expending the most calories, our riders or the people who are having to fan them in the background there. Clearly warm.
It's like a gym
German
session
at the moment. And I'm sure I saw Prado out and racing on the road.
Yes, you did. Was it not the Asian Championships?
I thought it was the Asian Championships. Another great performance from Jimin Prado in that as well. Fantastic to see that. You just see her on the left-hand side, nicely tucked into the group. The avatar on the right. On the left-hand side, well, you can see there's going to be some serious heat generated. 2 riders plus the fanning operation on the go at the moment. Just trying to keep the airflow going over the riders to keep that evaporation, that cooling going as they come up on to the top of the climb. In with Dorothy Gonzalez-Ruhr, who's been out and riding on the road, and some amazing shots from her out and riding. We get great shots from our riders. We've got some fantastic ones. Catherine Fuhr has got palm trees in the distance in front of her, out of the window where she's riding. Dorothy Gonzalez-Ruhr was out riding in the mountains. Some fantastic shots out there. Really inspirational. You want to be inspired? Follow the riders on the Sunday race.
Follow the riders
club.
On the Sunday race. Follow your favourites. Follow everybody.
Yeah. Well, because you could. It does help the riders because remember, riders, sponsors follow social media hits and followers as well as riding performances. So if you can support your riders, whether that's Serena Vittori on the left-hand side of your screen, whether that is riders like Jimin Prado, whoever is out and round, do give them a follow because it really does help.
Yeah, it really, really does. And this pack of Category 2 riders, we said Category 2 was going to be a very competitive race today, and it is. Look at the size of this leading group. They are up on top of the Valkenburg. They're on the over the top of the water on the flat section at the moment. Eck, Vittori, Van Hooling, Giovanni, Prado, Caramani, Gonzalez-Ruhr are all in the mix here. And it is such a strong group of riders. Look at that.
It's a big, big pack. To say that we've just gone over the top of the Valkenburg, part 1 of stage 2 of this 3-part race. Not that there's any time splits. It's just an unofficial division by me, instantaneously in the studio, but it is quite handy for working out where in the racing we are. Now, Category 2, top of the Valkenburg, right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side of your screen. This is the run in to the Valkenburg for Category 1 leading group. On the run in, there is a little dip, a little descent. You can build up some pace on the way down with a little descent down into the Valkenburg climb. It also breaks the rhythm up on the way through. So if you remember back to your course profile, we have got 45k, the first 15k containing the Cortakia climb, the second 15k containing Valkenburg, Eichenberg Hill and Eichenberg climb. Sandra Aprecia Ferron on the climb here at 28k of the Eichenberg climb. Perry is gone. Sudabayo's there. However, Ferron on a move. This is a big kick. But look at the Watson. Look at the power coming out of Perry. Perry clearly wants that jersey, but it's a long flat run from the summit here. You drop down. It's only about 500 meter drop down. Descent. It doesn't take very long to get down to let's call it 30k, and then you've got 6.5k, basically of flat land to cover If you're in a group, that's going to be a lot easier. Now, Perry goes up and she's climbing up here. She's going to be ahead of Sudabayo, who's challenging her in the polka dot competition for the points overall in the climb competition. Quap is there, so is Ferron. I suspect, though, that group of 4, by breaking up into individuals, will basically hand the advantage to whichever 2 of those individuals go back together again. They're at the front of the race. This is the back. Or should I say the front of the back of the race?
Well, it is. It's the last group of riders out of the start pen. And category 1, 8 riders were in the leading group last time we were in with them. I think we've seen more riders join that group now as we jump in. So McCarthy, Bruni, Kolchinsky, Alba, Guerra, Tomasi, Fua, all in this group. And they are pushing on, and they're pushing on up the Valkenberg at the moment. It's not a categorized climb, but it is one that the riders are pushing on. Guerra coming to the fore, not wanting to get caught out from any moves. Neither is Bruni. She missed the move at the start and had to close down the gap. Kristen Kolchinsky, yet again, the USA national champion 2 years in a row. Great to see her retain that title. Guerra, the rider we are in with at the moment, up and out and dancing on the pedals on the climb. McCarthy, Tomasi, Holdcroft, they are all in the group, and this is hanging together this time around.
For me, this section between 18.3k, the start of the Valkenberg, and 29k, so basically it's a 10k section with 3 climbs in it. That you need a tactic for this if you want to be, if you're going to race it and race it to win. Is that put the pressure on climb 1, really hammer it on climb 2, and then put the killer move in on climb 3.
Ooh.
You need a game plan. It doesn't always go to plan, but I think having a game plan there of what you want to do and what's going to give you the maximum advantage that matches your skill set.
Our riders are going to have a game plan. They're going to have a game plan for the race. And Perry at the moment, well, I'll tell you something, she's executing that game plan beautifully, because Georgia Perry, category 5, is at the head of the race. She's in the polka dot skin suit, setting the fastest time up the climbs at the moment. She's just gone over the Eichenberg climb. She's now got a long transition before she gets to the Quermont. But Perry took the win in category 5 last week in Colombia. 1 hour, 43 minutes, 31 her winning time. She also took the polka dot competition overall. Pilar Sudibayo, Geraldo and Gavaria Areas were the riders behind them. This week, it's Amy Sudibayo and Sandra Ferron, the 2 riders in the chasing group. Quap, Pilar, Mare, Gavaria Areas. Well, I'll tell you something, they're not that far behind, just over 20 seconds.
It's not far at all. I think this is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. It's like 6 seconds off this pace. It's at the top of the climb. This is really going to be key, isn't it? As they go over the top here, this group are together. The gap has gone. It's only 6 seconds. This is the moment where really, if you want to be in this race at the finish, you need to push. You need to be in with this group. We're on over the top of the second climb with the riders in category 4, category 5. This is the run over the top and dropping it down here of this climb. You can just see they have got the gap, but in category 4, Johnson on the move here. She's out of the saddle. You can see her on the left-hand side of your screen sprinting away up here.
Well, she and I had a little conversation after last week's race, and Johnson took the win last week in category 4 in Colombia, and she said to me, well, we're in Belgium next week. Belgium is my nemesis. I'm not going to repeat it. Well, Rebecca Johnson, let me tell you, you are repeating it. You're putting in a phenomenal performance today. You're up and out the saddle. You're in the polka dot skin suit. You're coming to the top of the Eichenberg climb. You are at the 28.9 kilometre marker in this 45 kilometre race. You are at the head of the category 4 race. And well, you have established a gap. You now need to maintain it.
Well, that's the big ask.
It is.
It's a gap of what is going to be
but
about.
Look at the charge behind.
It's 30 seconds behind. You've got a group of 5. They're coming over the top here of the Eichenberg climb. They've got 6k basically. So 10k from here in 6k flat, then a 3k climb section effectively to go up over. And I think for me, this is going to be really, really key. Can they push back?
Well, I'll tell you something. Who is in that group? We've got Johnson in the lead. We've then got Dowling. We've got Simkin, Holweiler, Pekakova, and Tomkinson. Idzik is not far behind. It is a class chasing group.
Oh, 100% a class chasing group and some.
Well, I'll tell you something, and it is really similar in category 3 because Lee Sophie Rammert has just gone over the top of the Eichenberg Hill in category 3 in the lead. But Lytton, Kiddle, Leninin, Essler, Bonilla, Banerjee, and Davidson, along with Jenny Daniel, are chasing hard.
Now, just to put that into context, if my predictions about teams is right, first, Rammert, second, Lytton, third, Kiddle, and fifth, Essler, are all on the same team.
Yes. I told you they're a dominant team.
If I'm not correct in my assumption that Brittany Lytton is actually part of that squad and just didn't get added to our start sheet with the team, if that's the case, they've still got 3 in the top 5, which is still phenomenal. Either way, great race, great riding. Now, just taking a look on our screens here at category 2, right-hand side of your screen. These are the riders making the way up. They are now at 25 kilometers coming up towards the top of the Eichenberg Hill. They'll drop down and almost instantly go into the Eichenberg climb. Left-hand side of your screen at 22k. After going over the Valkenberg, heading in towards the Eichenberg Hill, go category 1 leaders. The pace for me is off.
Well, take a look at Maria Holdcroft's heart rate, 127. We are currently in recovery.
They are in recovery, but I think for me, this is about being really smart and knowing where you are and what is to come on the course.
It's a big group. It is a big group, and you are quite correct. They know what is coming on the course. We're going to take a look at it in a few seconds. But this is about energy management, because the cat is going to just chase the pigeons, and boy, is it going to be exciting.
So let's take a look at the course profile. Let's remind you of what's coming up. This is a course really of 3 sectors, 45 kilometers in total. First sector effectively takes you from the start line through the 2 green sprint segments and over the Kortekeer climb. That's done, tick complete for all of our riders who are leading in their category. The second section goes from the Thyssenhoven-Molen sprint to going between the second and third categorized climb. 3 climbs in a row. Valkenberg with a little flat top, then the rounded top of the Eichenberg Hill, then the very sharp descent into the Eichenberg climb descent, then a flat section, then we're into our finale. Knowing where you're at, and category 1 are almost exactly halfway through, so they're between the Valkenberg and the Eichenberg Hills, so there's the 2 yellow climbs in the center of your screen. They know they've got 2 more climbs on this section to go, and then another flat section. And then you've got the Quermont climb, the descent, and then the run through the tunnels, underground, up through the Paterberg, over the top and into the finish. Knowing that you have still got substantial climbing and you've got some big sprint efforts, really, really key for me. The leaders overall on the road, category 5 at the moment, they are heading very closely. They're still going to be long before they hit that Quermont climb. And that's going to be really critical for them. Here's Georgia Perry now, 32.7k covered. She's got about another 3.8k or so until she hits the base of the Quermont climb.
But take a look what's happened behind her. Ferron, Quap, and Sudi Bio are all together now. So Perry in 1. 3 riders now chasing.
And you can just see, we are seeing that little roll around. We're seeing the watts per kilo going up and down, as dependent on where those riders are. Leading the group, you've got more watts per kilo coming out. And if they roll around, if these 3 work together, they could be racing. On the left-hand side of your screen, if they work together, they could be racing for a race win. If they don't work together, they are racing for second place because they are handing it to Georgia Perry. They're quite literally saying, Georgia, tell you what, we're not going to work. Here you go, you take that win, because that is where they're at the moment. 35 seconds can be closed down, but every one of those 3 riders has to work. If anybody's a passenger, it's game over. It's Perry's for the taking.
Well, Sophie Giovanni, Jenny Eck, Gonzalez, Rua, Van Hooling, Stevens, Stevens not in the group, actually. Stevens a rider distance off the back of this group now. So is Kasani Interesting. So 27.4 kilometres. The Category 2 pack come into the Eichenberg climb. This is the second categorised climb in this race today, and the leading group in Category 2. Well, it's getting smaller, but only just at the moment. So Paulson on the front with Gothelander, Prado, Embring, Field all in the mix as the climb starts. It's shallow at the start, this climb gets steeper towards the top.
And then you've got the drop off the far side. And remember, this is 4 points as well. Really, really key here in terms of the climb competition. In Category 2, the climb leader going on the Quarter Kia climb. Well, that's win to Sophie Giovanni. It was Van Heuling in second, Field in third, Paulson in fourth, Dagan Mashandi in fifth. They're the riders who've scored points so far, but do not discount anybody, because remember, we've got riders racing for the overall as well as the run in for the climb competition sprint. Good to see. I'll tell you something, the endurance arm work here. I'm going to let you, I'm going to take a punt and say that's a cyclist doing the fan work. And because of that, that's impressive arm skills, because most cyclists have no upper body arm strength, have they, Emma?
Well, no, that's not actually true.
Oh, is it just you?
Oh, very funny.
T-Rex in the corner there.
Well, okay. That's so untrue.
Would you like to explain the T-Rex nickname?
Once upon a time, I struggled to do a push-up, and I had a nickname T-Rex. That was from my son, actually. He once at Christmas bought me a T-shirt that said T-Rex on it, because whilst I had the power in my legs, I had very little power in my arms. It was a running joke started by my son. It has spread around the world, but
It's
no
gonna
longer
keep
true
going.
because I've hit the gym.
Can you do a push-up?
Yes.
How many?
5.
Okay. If
More than one.
if you would like to see Emma doing 5 push-ups in
Excuse
a row,
me. Let's just focus on the racing. Well, I'll tell you something. Guerra at the moment is focusing on the racing because it is getting hot, hot, hot in Category 1 at the moment, because Kate McCarthy's pushing on. Guerra's in 2. They're starting to get a gap behind them. Bruni and Fua and Holdcroft are now getting at 2 seconds, so slightly distancing, because Guerra is sticking to McCarthy's wheel like glue at the moment. Kate McCarthy, not only in those rainbow bands, she mixed it at the New Zealand Road Nationals last week. She wasn't here on the Sunday Race Club. She finished 3rd in that national road race, mixing it up with the World Tour riders, because it was a stacked women's race at the New Zealand Road Nationals. 1st, 2nd, 4th and 5th, all road World Tour riders. McCarthy, well, she is the world champion on cycling esports, and she took one of those podium steps.
Well done to our world champion. As we go back in with Category 2, Liz Van Heuling leading Sophie Giovanni up here. Remember, these were 1 and 2 as they came through the last climb. This time round, it's going to be Giovanni and Van Heuling, the 1-2 as they go through over the top here. They have put gaps into the riders behind it. 6 seconds. Can Van Heuling and Giovanni make the most of this? Are they looking to push on? This is going to be the drop down. Will they relax here a little and let those riders come back behind? Paulson's at 6 seconds. Embry is not far behind neither. There is Garamani as well. It's very interesting to see what happens here as they go over the top. Meanwhile, Category 1, we saw that push coming as they went over the top of the Eichenberg Hill. Interesting to see that the Category 1 leaders have come back together again, but we are rolling down, and this is the run-in to the climb of the Eichenberg climb. This is a categorized climb that we've just seen Category 2 leaders go over. Will we see a decisive move? At the top of this climb, we hit 29 kilometers of racing covered, and that therefore means that the riders know they have 16K to the finish. Will we see this group being whittled down anymore? Will we see a split occur? The pressure is on. Surely the riders will take this opportunity to put in decisive moves?
Well, you say that, Matt, but there is a big question over that because it's only 1.6 kilometres, the Eichenberg climb. And then we've got a long transition. That transition are over 7 kilometres before we get to the Quermont climb. And whilst we might lose 1 or 2 riders on this climb, I do not think we are going to see the decisive move go here. I think it's the combination of the Quermont and the Papenburg that is going to do it today for Category 1.
Oh, I love it when you make a decision. I think it might only be short, but I reckon you can open 20 seconds on here in Category 1.
But you've got to hold it on the flat transition.
If you're good enough to open the gap, you're good enough to hold it. I predict that we're going to get 3 riders clear at the top of this. That's my prediction, maybe 2. We'll see. Will they then let the rest of the riders come back together again? Will the rest put the pressure on? It's no good opening a gap if the rest of the riders then ride at a comfortable pace and you let them come back. You've put in that effort for nothing. You need them to try and work to catch you as well. So you've then got to keep the pressure on a little bit. So it's a real tactical game. And you've got to play it dependent on what the response comes as much as anything else. That's going to be that's really, really key here. Now, Holcroft holding the wheel of Fua, tracking Gabby Guerra. Guerra on the front, pushing through the breeze, 25 kilometres an hour. There is still draft for those riders behind. The watts that are shown at the top of your screen, if they're green, the rider that you're watching, which is Maria Holcroft, is in the draft. The draft advantage, and the advantage sitting in behind somebody's shadow in the wind, that is bigger the faster we're going. But the Category 1 riders riding up here at 27 kilometres an hour are picking up draft advantage by sitting in the wheels.
Well, do you know what someone said to me the other day? Someone who was quite new to MyWhoosh, actually, said to me the other day, well, I didn't realise I actually had much draft until I came out of the draft and then realised there was no draft on the front. And they said it's a bit like riding on the road or riding in a road race. You know, you don't realise there's a lot of draft until you come out and the wind hits you.
No, something Sherlock there.
Really?
Yeah,
You
really.
reckon?
Do you know what? But it is so true. And that's not always the case. You know, that real feel is there, and the real feel of having to grit your teeth for Tomasi and the co behind this leading group. The split has gone. There are 2 riders already at distance here. Velt is only at 1 second behind. Tomasi has gone here. It's Guerra, Fua, Holcroft, Bruni, and the world champion McCarthy on your screens on this climb. Guerra on the front, leading this out in the polka dot, the skin suit of the climb leader. She was the rider who took the top spot on the Kortekeer climb. It was Guerra, McCarthy, Fua, Holcroft, Kolchinsky. Those were the riders that scored the points. This time round, McCarthy's got the power on. Can McCarthy hold it? This will tie them at points at the top of the climb standings. Guerra's gone over the top. And Guerra is going to sprint. This will give her the lead. She'll still need to score points on the last climb. That's the Quermont climb. But she's going to take away the lead at the moment by taking the fastest time up the Kortekeer and holding the fastest time on the Eichenberg climb. She's got a 2-point gap, and that means that even if McCarthy wins the last one, she would need to finish lower than 3rd place on the Kortekeer climb to not take away the win overall in the points competition for the climbing.
Well, the Eichenberg climb, you can see the 6 categories on your screen at the moment, and Gabby Guerra taking the fastest time. For the Thundercats squad in Category 1, 3 minutes 22 seconds, 3 minutes 41 seconds for Sophie Giovanni in Category 2, Lee Sophie Rammer, Category 3, 3 minutes 54. So all the top 3 categories going sub 4 minutes. Rebecca Johnson setting the fastest time in Category 4, 4 minutes 20. Georgia Perry, Category 5, 4 minutes 56. And Veronica Ares from the Intercontinental squad in Category 6, 6 minutes 10. So you can see there the winning times across all 6 of our women's categories.
Great riding. Interesting times between them. And it does illustrate for me categories 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the differences in pace and power of that climb. It was very, very representative. The racing's on in all of our categories. In Category 1, Guerra and McCarthy with a gap of 3 seconds. So that is 2 riders clear, as predicted. as they went over the top. I've got to take them when I can.
And the chase behind, but Guerra and McCarthy now got to work together if they want to do anything about that gap. And Guerra on the front, pushing on McCarthy, now coming to the fore, taking her turn. The pace picks up, so McCarthy and Guerra now working nicely together to try and establish the gap. But Holdcroft, Bruni and Fua are part and parcel of that chase. The pace behind not as high, but the question is, it's just 2 seconds.
It is indeed. Now, let's go back from Category 1, or go forward, should I say, from Category 1 to the front of the race. Georgia Perry leading, 18 seconds down the road in Category 5. Brittany Litton and Lee Sophie Ramett, both of the same squad on the climb of the Cortakia. They have got the race leader in front. Behind them, Kiddle, along with Leinonen, along with Daniel, along with Essler, all in together. It's a long train of riders. If you look to the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see each of our riders represented by a disc, each colour representative of their categories. We are in with Brittany Litton in the screens on the left-hand side as she continues to push through here. Has she got the gap with Ramett that will take them into the finish at the top of the Cortakia? This is going to be a drop down. Now, go on, Emma.
Please tell me that is a flying mascot. So, Brittany Litton, if you watch this back, please get in contact with me and tell me whether that is a flying mascot. It's brilliant. But look at the work Litton is doing. The fan is blowing. She's got multiple screens in front of her, and she is riding seriously strongly today.
I thought it was a piece of cake that she was chasing so that she rode faster for the cake, because that'd be for me.
No.
I had some lovely cake today, not today, on my bike ride this week.
Well, can I just tell you, at 38.2 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race, Lee Sophie Ramett and Brittany Litton are absolutely doing the business here in Category 3 today. They're coming towards the top of the Quermont climb, and they really are giving us an absolute demonstration in climbing and racing today, because it's 5 seconds back to Kiddle, Lennon and Daniel Bonilla. At the front of the race, on the right-hand side of your screen, just, well, less than 100 metres ahead of them is Georgia Perry.
They've got her. They've got her. Here they go. They're on the shoulder.
Perry, Category 5. Great racing to stay out so long. But here come the train that is Category 3.
And this is where jumping in is going to be key. Getting on board here, making sure you use this. We know that Perry can climb well. She stayed out in front. She's got the gap in Category 5. She needs to now keep pushing as we're in with Lee Sophie Ramett. Ramett can see the polka dot banner here. She wants to make this hers. She's got the maximum points so far. She wants to take the segment time here in Category 3. She wants to take the overall climb win. She took the sprints win last week. She takes away the polka dot skin suit. She's our climb winner, our overall climb winner. Great day out at the office so far for Lee Sophie Ramett. And there is, of course, the ultimate prize of the race win up for grabs. She's in prime spot. Ramett, Litton, Leinonen, along with Essler, Daniel, Kiddle, all in the mix in the overall racing Category 3. In Category 5, Georgia Perry taking the climb competition there. She's also done the same, taking the climb points and taking the overall as well as those segments. Nice day out at the office. Nice day for the payday there as well. In Category 5, left-hand side of the screen, we have got the group of McCarthy, along with Guerra and the rest, because Holcroft has made the junction.
Yes.
Not a slouch in getting across that group. So is Bruni. Interesting. All coming back together.
Well, it is interesting because Bruni is right at the fore of the race now.
She came up and
Category
through.
1. Yep, she has indeed. And Guerra McCarthy now behind. So Mel Bruni, the rider pushing on at the front of Category 1. Look at that. Dig from McCarthy. Just closing that down and making sure the gap doesn't get too big. So Bruni, McCarthy, Guerra, Holdcroft, Fua, all back together again.
Can I just do a quick jump back across whilst this racing is heading in towards its finale? The climb of the Quermont. I'm going to do these early just so that we get these out there. We saw Georgia Perry taking the Quermont climb, winning Category 5. She did so from Sudibayo, then Ferron, followed by Piella. The riders in Category 4, That was Rebecca Johnson taking the win on that climb from Downing, from Pekakova, from Simking, Category 3. We saw Rama ahead of Lytton, Leinen, Essler and Kiddle. So that's the first of our riders, first half of our riders over the Quermont climb. It's going to get really packed with action a little bit later on. So we'll just try and get that out there. Well done to our segment winners there. And of course, our Queen of the Mountain winners overall. That will be confirmed when we get to the finish. Remember, all these results live at the moment as the racing is happening. Once they are verified, there will be that tick, the blue seal of approval, but that will not happen until all of the riders are in and all those results are verified.
Well, that does indeed take a short while. And at the moment, there's no short while in this race because Lytton, Rama, Leinen and Perry, Daniel, Kiddle and Essler, well, there's 9 seconds between the leading two and this chase group. They've got them in their sights. This could yet come back together again in Category 3. They are at the 40.9 kilometre marker, just about to tick up onto 4 kilometres to go. But let me tell you what stands in their way. It is the solid wall that is the Papenburg, 400 metres of climbing with an average gradient, hold on to your hats, 11.7% average gradient. When I say it's a wall, in real life, the Papenburg was constructed by a farmer deliberately to get his climb on the Tour of Flanders.
And it's cobbled, and it's hard, and it's evil, and it's nasty, and it really, 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 really hurts.
Well,
and that's exactly what it feels like when you're racing this. So the riders on the way in here. So at the moment, the race leaders, left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side is the chasers. What you've got to be careful, big tactical decisions to be made here by our riders. Do you kick hard on the climb? Because that is a decisive moment. Because for me, the key issue is you've got a flat section afterwards and then a slight rise and push through to the finish line. If you go too hard and blow, you are in trouble. But you have to go hard because you're on the climb and you will hemorrhage so much time if you are not on the pace. This is going to make a massive difference. Get it right, you will win the race. Get this wrong, you could end up not just losing your group, but going out the back of 2 more groups that come past you.
And we've seen that because this race course has been raced quite regularly in the men's race. And we have seen time after time after time in those men's races that the lead being lost on the run in to the finish because of the lack of energy for that final effort. And those riders going long, not necessarily crossing the line first.
100%. I agree with that. Now, Lytton, the rider that you're in with on the left-hand side of your screen, no time for wait for us. You need to be focused on the screen, on the riders that are coming behind the chasing group at 9 seconds at the moment. That also contains the leader in Category 5, as well as the chasing group in Category 3. Perry holding those wheels, and that group are on their way. This is going to be really tough. 2 riders clear, Lytton and Rama, being chased by Leinen and Daniel, Kidder, as well with Essler. They are going to make the way. I think I've seen Vanilla in that mix as well. That group is swelling behind. It's a big chasing group. Can they pull them back? Here we go. Here comes the climb. This is the wall. We are underneath the tunnels here. We're down in the dungeons. We've got to make your way up to the sunshine, up to the banner. Lytton pushing on at 5.6 watts per kilo. Ramat responds at 6.2. Ramat in the polka dot skin suit, the purple jersey, the black shorts. That's Lytton. Avatar on the right-hand side. You can see Lytton on the left-hand side here of your screen. Out of the saddle, kicks on, pushes on. Really needs to hold these wheels here. This is going to be key. We've gone from Lytton to Rama on our screens in person. Now, I'll tell you something, the pressure now is on Lee Sophie Rama. She's got to respond here. She has to get onto the wheel. They will want to go clear. They have 13 seconds on the group behind, and the group behind is stretched as well. If they could look in their rear view mirror, they would be able to see the riders strung out on the Papenburg. This wall has hit. They are on the climb, and the pressure is on. Lytton on the front. Ramat's second wheel here starts to squeeze alongside here. Lytton responds. She sat down in person. The avatar's back in the saddle. It gets back out again because they just need to keep that power on. They're going to go over the top. They go underneath the archway, past the portcullis, the big gateway that drops down from above. Have they done enough to distance the group behind? Vanilla is at 6 seconds. This is going to come down to who has got the energy and the strength. Who wants it the most?
Well, this is a really good move because Ramat and Litten, they are 11 seconds clear. Kiddle, Lennon, and Esla Bonilla, Kim Bonilla, the under-23 Filipino rider. Absolutely phenomenal young talent there as well. As that gap, it's starting to close because Litten and Ramat, while they have backed off the pace, the gulps of air coming into those lungs at the moment for the run into the finish. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's the two leaders, Litten and Ramat in Category 3. Litten is pushing on. What can Ramat do? What can the chase group on the left-hand side do? They are at 12 seconds at the moment.
12 seconds, that's all that's separating our riders. Let's see how they're going. Now, here we go. We're in with Category 2. This is the run up over the top of the Quermont climb. The leaders on the road, though, are on the way into the finish. The leaders of the race should be coming into our finishing line any second here. As we go over the top of the climb, we go across. This is the run, right-hand side of your screen. We are at 1K to go. 1K to go, 1,000 meters. This is critical. Litten, Ramat on the front, 13 seconds. It had gone down to 6. It's gone out to 13. They've pushed on. Who's worked too hard? Who's got the sprint? We know Lee Sophie Ramat can sprint. How much does Litten want this? They may well be friends. They may be the best of acquaintances. They may well go out and sit and enjoy time together, but now it's time to open up the gap. It's time to become Billy No Mates and really push on. Litten is going to lead this out. 4.5K. We're on to this slight rise. Right-hand turn onto the rise, left-hand turn onto the flatland. It's 2 seconds now. Ramat has to respond. 5.7 watts. Is she going to close this gap down? It's at 1 second. They are very similarly matched here. Litten digs in. 6.5 watts a kilo. She responds to the push by Ramat. Litten is pushing. Can she take this? She's distancing Ramat. Ramat's going up to 6, but I'm not sure Ramat has got it in her legs. They're going to level out. We will have the sprint coming. This is key. Brittany Litten continues to push. Has Ramat got anything left? Brittany Litten comes round the left-hand turn. You can't relax now. You've got to go underneath the gateway. You're looking for the UCI banner for the finish. Ramat chasing, Litten leading. Ramat's coming onto a wheel here. Litten has eased back to 3.5. She can't afford. She needs a sprint left because Ramat comes onto a wheel. They're side by side, 200 meters to go. The banner's in front. Who's going to take this? Ramat kicks. Litten responds. They are shoulder to shoulder. Ramat just starts to edge the gap. It's going to be a sprint win. It's going to be a sprint finish. The kick for the line. Lee Sophie Ramat takes it from Brittany Litten. Ramat has the jersey there too. Her polka dot skin suit. Litten comes in second place. It's going to be Ramat with the win. Brittany Litten in second place. Banilla's going to potentially take away third place here. She is clear on her own from Bridget Kittle and Eva Esler as well. And I've got to say, a massive, massive well done to Brit's Babes team because that was teamwork at its best.
It was indeed, and what a phenomenal finish to the Category 3 race. On the left-hand side of your screen was the Category 1 race. On the right-hand screen was the Category 3. This is the Category 4 race. And at the moment, Rebecca Johnson, well, she has stayed clear, but only just. Nina Dowling is 6 seconds back. So is Hannah Pekakova. Pekakova, Daniels. Daniels now at 10 seconds from Pekakova. So Rebecca Johnson in 1 sees the UCI banner. She's clear of Pekakova and Downing. And whatever they do, they are not going to bring Rebecca Johnson back. She took the win last week in Colombia. She was unsure about whether she'd take the win today in Belgium, but she has. Category 4, Rebecca Johnson as Pekakova takes the sprint from Dowling for second place in that Category 4 race.
I think it's going to be Melissa Simpkins going to take that third place. That's subject to, Dowling takes third place. So it's Johnson in 1, Pekakova in 2, Dowling in 3. I think Simpkin in 4th place. Perry not far off our finishing line in Category 5 at the moment, as we see Category 2 start to go down their descent. The leading duo of McCarthy and Guerra in Category 1, they are approaching the 40-kilometre marker with no riders in sight behind. In Category 2, oh my goodness, we have got riders to spare here. This is a huge group of riders going on to the final climb. If they hit this together, the riders making the way down this straight and on towards the Pattenberg climb in Category 2. Congratulations to Georgia Perry taking the win in Category 5, just confirmed on our timing screens here. So winning the race overall in Category 5. Category 2, though, this is a big group. Perry was clear. She'd had that gap for a long time. That was pretty much nailed on the way through. So congratulations to her doing the same as Rama, taking away the sprint, the climb and the overall.
Well, on the left-hand side of your screen at the moment are the leaders in the Category 1 race. So Guerra and McCarthy have company because Bruni and Holdcroft, well, they were sneakily tucked in to a pack of Category 5 riders when we dropped in last time. And I think on the other side of that pack of Category 5 riders is Catherine Fuhr. So I think she is not that far back either. So at the moment, Bruni, Holdcroft, Guerra and McCarthy, 4 riders as we see Maria Holdcroft. Well, she's pushing over the top and she wants to make this a strong race. They've got 4.4 kilometres to go in Category 1. Category 2 don't have that far. They are about to come into the wall of the Pattenberg.
Interesting move by Holdcroft. Break clear, go for a long one. That gives you the sliding room when you see McCarthy and Guerra kick on the climb. Great tactic. Now, same kind of tactic being put in here by Denton and Van Heuling because they wanted to drop Giovanni. They've certainly given themselves a little bit of running room. There's Van Heuling out of the saddle, stamping down on those pedals. Right-hand side of your screen, you can see the avatar doing the same, but this group is together. This is the climb. It's being led at the moment by the polka dot skin suit of Sophie Giovanni. Remember, when we get to the top of this climb, we've got a long, flat section, then another rise into our finishing sprint. This is key. How much do you invest on the climb? If everybody keeps it at a reasonable pace, i.e. not full-on flat sprint up here, that could mean that they're going to have a little bit left at the end. So getting this pace right, key. But you don't always get that decision. Big push on the front again. The leading group here really are keeping this hard. There is no easing off. Pia Kuma, Matilda Field in here. Looks like Goslander also in the mix. Kate Trudin riding strongly. Dega Mashandi also sat nice and tightly in within this big group. Kuma could well be a rider to what's coming in. Trudin the same. They have not been attacking too hard. They've been riding, surfing the wheels. There's a gap starts to open up the front of this climb, though, being led out at the moment. You can see Giovanni out of the saddle, kicking down hard here over the top. This is going to be a group sprint for the finish because I cannot see this breaking on the climb, on the little rise in. They couldn't split it on the Pattenberg. This will be about getting timing correct.
They have been absolutely so well matched today, this Category 2 pack. We knew from the start that this was going to be a close race, but boy, has it been. Kolkowitz, Karamani, Giovanni Manshandi, Kuma are all in the mix. They are in the mix with Van Heuling as well. It is just a phenomenal group of women on the right-hand side of your screen in that Category 2 race. Tilly Field is in there as well. Kate Trudin is in there. Now you need to be careful. Those two have a phenomenal sprint on them. So does Pia Kuma. And some of those riders in the pack know the sprint those riders had. Van Heuling has got a sprint on her as well. She's just got to get her timing right.
So we're going to go very briefly back to Category 1 before Emma takes us into our finish on Category 2. Category 1, coming in to the climb. A big move by Mary-Kate McCarthy here. She's kicking up onto the climb here. Holcroft has responded as well. So has Guerra. Bruni's going as well. Fua's going. The moment it is the World Championship leading this out. The Category 2 riders at the moment just strung out on the way in towards the finish as the pace starts to hot up. Category 1 is McCarthy and Guerra, though, who've opened a 2-second gap on the climb. It's now 3. Bruni and Holcroft, the riders that are holding station behind Fua, also in the mix. However, it's McCarthy and Guerra who are opening the gap open at the top. This is Category 1. You can see the pain on Guerra's face as she tries to hold the World Champion's wheel, but the gap has gone here. Guerra has to find something special. We know that McCarthy has got the time. If she sits into a pace, she can hold it. Guerra has to race her strength here, attack up the climb. Right-hand side of your screen, it's Category 2.
Well, 500 minutes to go in Category 2, and the pack are rolling. Kolkowitz, Field, Van Hooling, they know the phenomenal sprint that some of these riders have, but it's Carolina Kolkowitz on the front at the moment. She's going to take the left-hand bend, but she may not take the win because Tilly Field, Liz Van Hooling, Pia Kumi, Sophie Giovanni are all coming fast from behind. Who's going to open this up first? Van Hooling launches just at 8 watts per kilo, and I say just because that is not top pace from Van Hooling, but she is now motoring. Kolkowitz is coming. Who's going to take this? Van Hooling goes over the top. She's going to lead this out. She's going to lead it out into the finish at 8 watts per kilo. Can anybody respond? No, they can't. Van Hooling is going to take the win in Category 2. Liz Van Hooling takes the win. Kolkowitz in second. Tilly Field in third. Jenny Eck, I think, is going to take 4th place. And Karamani, oh no, Pia Kuma clips Karamani, and I mean clips, as Kate McCarthy comes towards the finish line.
So great riding by Kate McCarthy to go clear by 9 seconds from Gabby Guerra, going in over the top here. So she opens up the gap on Guerra. Guerra's got a gap of 5 seconds to Holcroft. Is this a case of Ali Ejector S? The die is cast as they come into the fortifications around the city here. Our Category 2 riders, a phenomenal sprint finish. It's not going to come down to a sprint. In Category 1 here, Gabby Guerra doing what she can to close the gap down, but my goodness me, McCarthy kicked, she kicked, and Guerra did not have the answer on the Paterberg, the world champion, showing why she is that world champion, racing to her strengths. She has the gap of 10 seconds to Guerra, who's on the right-hand side of your screen, but this is McCarthy's now for the taking.
So Guerra digs in one final push at 400 meters to go. She's got 11 seconds on McCarthy. McCarthy is rolling. She's got 6 seconds back to Maria Holdcroft. She needs to dig deep, but McCarthy is going to see the UCI banner. So Kate McCarthy comes around the corner in Category 1. She's going to take the win today in the rainbow bands on the Sunday Race Club in Belgium. She rode away from Guerra on the Paterberg. Kate McCarthy takes the win. Gabby Guerra is going to come through for 2nd place today. She is clear of Holdcroft, chasing hard behind. Guerra resplendent in the polka dot skin suit, taking that competition as well. Maria Holdcroft is going to come through for 3rd place today, whilst Catherine Fua and Merle Bruni battle it out for 4th and 5th. Fua on the front here. Bruni's going to dig. Can Bruni come over the top? Has Catherine Fua gone long? Can Catherine Fua hold it off for Bruni? It's going to be close on the line. I think Fua's going to take that from Bruni. So Catherine Fua slits into 4th place, and Merle Bruni will take 5th.
What a top 5. The sprint competition being won by Bridget Filensky in Category 1 as well. You can see our riders on there. The winning time 1 hour, 12 minutes, 55 seconds, near as anything for Mary-Kate McCarthy. 10 seconds back, Gabby Guerra, then Holger Fur and Bruni, as Emma said. Category 2 winner Liz Van Hooling coming in ahead of Kolkowitz, confirmed ahead of Field, Eck and Kuma. A fantastic race here in Belgium. Don't forget the results live at the moment. They will be updated live all the way through on the MyWhoosh.com website. Go to the results page on there for all of the race action and the confirmed results. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe. Our women's race on Belgium really has shown how much of a racer's route this is and how important it is to be able to race to your strengths on those climbs. Emma, any conclusions that's come away? Very first time we've been here on our women's race and the full race distance.
Yeah, it's really true. And, some absolutely superb racing today. And it just really shows that the Patenberg is the decider.
It is indeed, and I don't think a tough challenge for the men awaits. I think it's a brutal challenge for the men that awaits. That's our next race coming up here on MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. Make sure you follow Emma. It's at @biking_Emma. Myself at Matt Fixer Payne. MyWhoosh at my_whoosh on X and at MyWhoosh on Facebook and on Instagram. Please do join us for the men's race. We're going to take a very short break. We will be back very quickly indeed. But from Emma and myself, time for you to refuel. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Right on the front of the pack, and he's calling for riders to take turns and keep the pace high out of the pen. They don't want to slouch today in Category 3.
Trojanski down the road, 7 seconds. Sal Keradine in pursuit, looking to close the gap down. Betty at 1 second, along with the rest of the bunch. This is keeping the pressure on.
The 3 riders at the front of category 2, and I tell you something, this is danger zone. Like those warning lights, because boop, 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 there's a 16-second gap back to the chase group. Bengston on the front of the chase group, and he is pushing on at the moment. Phil Graves, who took the win last week, is the rider closing the gap and wanting to do the work to come back to the riders who are up the road. There's still 7 seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I'll tell you something, when you are chasing this hard, 7 seconds is a long gap. Dadson and Warren, the 2 category 5 riders, going up and over the top of the category 6 bunch. They worked their way right the way through, and I'm just taking a look. One of the riders in that category 6 bunch just digging in. Pegasov is the rider we are watching. He is at the 4 of the race with 3 kilometers to go. Fawcett is there, Bergeron is there, Warren is there, Dadson is there. Well, Warren and Dadson, category 5, are slowly coming up through the field. It's like a boy band.
It's back. The band's back.
They are indeed, and the band is now rolling because Agudelo, Ivanov, Warren are all in the mix, and they are on the left-hand side of your screen. Pegasov now being caught by Maya Budron, the American rider. Really big push to close that gap down.
Patrick Bloom at the moment tapping out a very smart rhythm of this climb. He has got the gap. It is still not decisive, but time is running out for Nathan Guerra, who is currently the nearest challenger, and 20 seconds down.
Budron in category 6. They were the first riders out of the start pen today. Budron is going to be the first rider underneath the finish line. He's going to take the win today in the category 6 race. The chase is on behind, and the sprint is opening in category 5. It's Cridland, Agudelo, Siddle and Tortoretto. Budron comes underneath the banner to take the win in category 6.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم، ونبارك للإمارات فوز البطل محمد المطيوعي ببطولة آسيا، أول ذهبية للإمارات تحت 23 سنة في ضد الساعة. محمد المطيوعي يتفوق ويفوز بجدارة.
نعم كابتن عبد الله، واليوم ايضا السباق طويل، مسافه 50 كيلو و300 متر. اتوقع انه هذه المسافه هي الأطول منذ بدايات سباقات مايوش، سباقات يوم الأحد حتى اليوم.
بالنسبة لي الفئة الأولى عندنا مايكل فينك، عندنا أولي جونز، عندنا جيسون أوزبورن، كل نجوم العالم موجودين في هذه الفئة. هذه الفئة هي أقوى الفئات.
السباق مشتعل صراحة، مشتعل في هذه الفئة الثانية. هافارد يحاول، وفيليب جريفز من أفضل الأسماء الموجودة بالفئة الثانية، وهو كان بطل المرحلة في الأسبوع الماضي. فيليب جريفز الآن يعاني في الخلف هنا في آخر الكيلومترات. نعم وصلنا إلى آخر الكيلومترات، تقريبا 5 كيلومترات أخيرة أو أقل، 4 كيلومترات أخيرة للفئة السادسة والفئة الخامسة. أيضا الأمريكي ماهر بودران بأول فوز له في الفئة السادسة، وبطل السباق المرحلة التأهيلية الثانية، القميص المنقط وأيضا القميص الأصفر لهذا الأمريكي.
So welcome back to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, a qualifier race number 3. My name's Matt Payne. I'm in the studios with Emma Martin. We just watched an absolutely astounding women's race. If you're just joining us for the men's race, do make sure you go back and watch that women's race here on the same course for the men and the women for 2025. And great to see the racing in action. A longer distance race on the Belgian course. The first time that we've been there on the women's race and raced the 45k course rather than 35k, and some real interesting action, and it really did go to par. Now, it's not the case for the men that this is the first time on course. It is their second, third, fourth. No, they've been on this more times than I can count. For the moment, though, my statistician, Emma, just making sure that she's got all of the stats wrapped up from the women's race, and just making sure she's doing that back in our offices here before jumping into the commentary box with me, which means I get to tell you a couple of things, just a bit of housekeeping for you. Don't forget at the moment, that we have coming up some fantastic, not just races and rides, but some of our fantastic training sessions. Now, Emma is going to be back on the training sessions on Monday. That's tomorrow, if you're watching this live. On Tuesday, we have some bloke you might have heard of doing the training sessions on a Tuesday afternoon. So, Tuesday afternoons is going to be Tuesday evening, depending on where you are in the world. Peter Sagan live on your training sessions each and every Tuesday. So you can train and see if you can keep up with Peter to get that motivation, maybe some top flight world-class tips. If you don't know who Peter Sagan is, jump onto your search engine. If you want to see some fantastic race finishes, put in something like the World Championships in Richmond. That's always a really good race finish, taking its way up the climb into the finish there. But jump on board. If you haven't downloaded the app, don't forget you can get it on iOS, on Android, and on Windows. Jump on board, get set, get your turbo training sorted, jump on live. You can get there from the main screen. It's a great way to get yourself up to speed, to get racing, to get motivated. Those coaches doing an amazing job all the way through. Now, another bit of timekeeping for you, just a heads up, and I can't give you confirmed times at the moment. When we reach the end of the month here and we move into March, we will be moving into Ramadan. When we hit Ramadan, the timings will change. So our races will be getting an email with those confirmed timings with them in. But the timings will change, and that means the live show will change with myself, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. Emma back into the studios with me. In fact, as you might be able to just about hear, she's pulling on the headphones.
I have just put my headphones on.
So, Emma, welcome back into the studio. I know you were busy wrapping up all the stats and data from the women's race.
Should I be really honest?
Oh, what were you doing? Because I was in the studio.
I was making a coffee.
Oh, that's a really good idea. I hope you have got yourself coffeed up if it's early in the morning or if you're going to need that extra little kick to get up and racing. It's our men's race. Let's take a quick look at the map and a reminder of what faces our competitors here today. Emma, stop smelling the coffee. Get on with the map.
Well, our riders won't be smelling the coffee, I tell you. Belgium racing is what they're going to be facing. 45 kilometres of racing, 492 metres of climbing. They come out of the start pen through the Ghent City Sprint, 6 kilometres of pan flat racing to get that momentum rolling. Then they head up the Cortekeer, 3.9 kilometres, average gradient 2.5%, 17%. That first kicker is up and over the top, through the Tissenhoven-Moval Sprint, over the Valkenburg, over the Eichenberg Hill, up the Eichenberg climb. That's the second of 3 categorised climbs today. And 1.6 kilometres, average gradient 4.3%, gets steeper at the top. Then there is a 7.6 kilometre transition to the Quermont climb. The Quermont, we descend off the other side. We hit what actually is the Pattenberg, which is 400 metres at 11.7% average gradient before the run in to the finish line today. It's tricky. It's technical. You can get it wrong, but the checkered flag awaits the winner.
Easy way to think of this, and we will be using these terms to describe it, as the first third, the second third, and the third of this section.
I thought you were going to say, and the fourth third.
That would be impressive, but no. The first third of this, basically from the start, it contains our 2 sprints and the Cortekeer climb. That's the first 15k. Then when you go into the second 15k, the middle section, the key middle section, where you've got 3 climbs, 2 of which aren't categorized. That's the Valkenburg and the Eichenberg Hill, followed by the Eichenberg climb. That middle section really, really key to setting a foundation for your racing.
The duo of the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb, I do think are fairly instrumental.
With the Valkenburg before, I think that middle section really, really key. Then you've got another flat run of 6k, taking you over the 30k marker, so into the last third of this 45 kilometres race, the Quermont, followed by the uncategorised but utterly brutal Pattenberg climb, the flat step to the run into the finish. Now, 6 race categories taking to race start. Category 6 in purple, 5 in light blue, 4 in red, 3 in dark blue, 2 in green, and 1 in yellow. first riders away are our Category 6 riders, both the women's and the men's race. In the men's race, we've got BMC6, so Dylan Kennett, Stephen Mulligan, Vitorius Jokabunis. For level beginning, we have Renato Ramos as well as Roran Teron. For the Lost Amigos, big squad here. 4 riders, Jerry Nielsen, Manolito Lenador, Royal Velada, as well as Wojciech Sebza. Sebza, I know, watching the women's race earlier on for inspiration maybe, or maybe just to get to know the course better. For the Spinergy team, Frederick Schoberg is here. 30 riders actually on our start list, with Wim Verbeest of Belgium being our additional rider, but lots of riders who scored strongly before as well.
Yes, and Andreas Pegasovs, who took the win last week in Colombia, has progressed to Category 5. He also took the sprint and the climbing competition. He was dominant in Colombia last week. He's moved up to Category 5. Riley Millistic is getting better and better. He finished 3rd last week. Simon Llewellyn took 2nd. Pablo de Manuan took 4th. But Cameron Dadson, Daniel Dotto, Drew Abbott, Jerome Smith, Johan Aron is here. Mikhail Kelps is here. Tom Harvey is in the mix. Johan Ferrand is here. You know, could be some great racing today. Well, no. Let me say that again. There will be some great racing in Category 6.
So it's time to go racing. Qualifier race number 3. It's our men's competition, and we are go here in Belgium. The first 6K flat on that run through the Ghent City Sprint, one of 2 sprints. The Ghent City Sprint being number 1, the Thyssenhoven-Molen Sprint being sprint number 2. The first sprint coming at 2 kilometres into the race route. Critical to get up to speed fast. This race was aggressive last week at Fosseida, one of those key riders instigating the racing and the race action. He's already on to the front, and Marius already stretching this out, having a good start out from the pens. But this race was raced aggressively last week on a very, very different course.
Yes.
It was a course where, although there were lumps and bumps on the way through, there were bridges of a few hundred meters at most, and rises. They were not like today, where we have got what is the longest climb first.
Well, can I tell you, normally, now that the men's and women's race routes are the same, the Category 1 women normally fit time-wise into around the top 10 in the Category 3 men. Last week, the men's race in Colombia was so hard and fast in comparison to the women's race in Colombia. The women would have been around 20th in the Category 3 race and have only just beaten the Category 4 winners over the line.
And that's a different style of racing, wasn't it?
Because it just was the different styles of racing between the men's and the women's on the same course.
And I think to some degree, it also was about how the Category 6, 5, 4 and 3 in the men's race raced it much more aggressively from the start.
They did.
And we saw the categories 2 and 1 are just a little bit more chilled out. Now, we have no start pens with flamingos in at the moment. We're just holding that for our riders to give them some calming images whilst the riders await their start in category 4 and 3. We'll not go in and focus on those because calming as maybe I need it. The riders in category 6 have calmed down and have just eased back to 36 kilometers an hour. Eased back to 36 kilometers an hour in category 6.
I know, they're rolling really strongly.
You'd like, well, guys, look, it's the start of a 45k race. Why are you nailing it? And again, another nailing it. We're coming into the sprint. Everybody who races this regularly goes from the back to the front. Why nail it now?
And let's just talk tactics because the racers really need not just to train power, and to think about speed. They need to think about tactics because tactics are so important. Where you sit in the pack, what the dynamics are, understanding the difference between watts per kilo and absolute power, and where those work and how that plays out for you and what tactics and strategies you need to use. Going through a sprint, if you sprint from the front versus sprinting from the back, the utilization of draft as a tactic. Take a look at these riders going from the back to the front. Those are the ones who are going to utilize the momentum. They're going to utilize the draft. They are going to use less power to set a faster time. You have got to understand these things and the dynamics as well. And Marius Fosseed, the rider, saying the fastest time came from the very back of the group.
Did it last week as well. Knows what he's doing on MyWhoosh. This man absolutely flying through. Great sprint by him. 1,048 watts from that man. I mean, he had the power as well as having the pace and the speed and the timing. 12.9 watts per kilo. Clearly aim for that, takes away maximum points. Okay, let's go from our first race category out from the pens. Category 6, Category 5, our second race category away. The field of 48 riders with some big teams in it here. BMC 5, Mottmans and Dadson. We've got High 5 with Montoya. Level Up with Rooney and Back. The Level Warriors with Bertrand. Rule 5, the biggest squad, 4 riders. Jack Rusinek, John Wakefield, Peter Atribut and Stephen Newman. The upcycled squad, they have Zanaska Drummond and Maynard ZTBR, Osmar Vass, but that is but 14 of this huge race field.
Well, 48 riders on the start sheets, those 7 teams today. There's not a lot of riders on this start sheet who finished in the top 5 last week. That's because the winner, Jonathan Cridland, has gone up to Category 4, but because the rest of them are choosing not to race today. You've got to have 2 qualified races, 2 verified races from the qualifications to get into that final next week. This is Qualifier 3, so some riders who have already got it in the bag choosing not to be here, opening up the way for everybody else. Ola Warren, Jeff Rooney, Sean Driscoll, all in the mix. Ivanov is here, Rowlands, Kutab, Kalangad, Carvajal, Warren, Gavaria, Botero, some really strong riders. And it's great to see new riders coming into the mix as well. Vittorio Livini is here. Lovely and fabulous to have our new riders on board. Ola Warren, we can see him in the pain cave at the moment. Look at concentration on his face. Keen to make sure he stays in that fast-moving starting pack.
An experienced rider, regular rider on MyWhoosh for a long time now, Ola Warren of Sweden, and definitely a rider who I think could well be in the mix here, because being able to ride strongly here, it's about knowing how to ride and when to use your energy. That was very evident in the women's race as well as in previous men's races on this course. Who will be taking this out? Warren at the moment nicely tucked in this bunch. It's a huge bunch. They're moving at 38 kilometers an hour. If you work in miles per hour, that's about 24 and a half miles an hour. So it gives you an indication of how fast these riders are moving. And that is why you need to be holding inside the pack and saving your energy. You go too fast, too hard, too soon, and you're going to be in trouble. Save your energy for when it counts. Make sure that you race this, not just ride it. Going to be really, really key. You don't want to be too over enthusiastic too early. That's going to be something that could penalise you later on.
Well, making sure you maintain your energy management. It's not just cars that have energy management systems, you know. We do too. Well, the racers do on the Sunday Race Club, and they are all about.
I was going to say, I'm not sure
energy.
we do in the studio.
I'm maintaining my energy. I've just had my 4th cup of coffee today.
So we're just heading...
Which is very unusual for me. Normally, it's 2, and that's it.
I have to say that every now and then we go for a commentary team bike ride. And there's usually involves coffee and cake. And I always know that I'm in trouble when Emma goes for a sort of 4th or 5th coffee. The fact that we're now in a contained sound treated studio when Emma's had 4 coffees could be dangerous for you on the other side of the speakers. So just be warned. I think if she was on the bike, she'd be riding like Ola Warren and Mark Dasson already on the move before we even get to the sprint, because we have left at least one of our riders trailing in Category 5 here in the light blues. Come in towards the sprint. Stephen Taggart has gone hard early, but he's going off the front to get across to these 2. I suspect we'll see the fastest time coming from behind with plenty of draft available. And here they come. Here comes the pack. Big kick coming through here. Tell you something, Brent Gibson could be in the mix here, 11 watts per kilo. Brent Sensing going through at 10.5 here as well. Osman Vaz on our screens in the mix too, but I think he's going to be beaten time-wise through here. Who's going to take it? Sensing is in the top 3, so is Gibson, so is Dvorak. I think Calangad is in the mix, but I don't think they've got the win here, have they, Emma?
No, they haven't, because doing it like he did last week in Colombia, it's Diego Navarro, who is in the green skin suit at the moment in Category 5. He took the sprint last week, well, the entire sprint competition last week in Colombia, and he has just set the fastest time in Category 5 through the sprint, 13.3 watts per kilo average.
Big power coming down. Will it be matched by our riders in Category 4? Lots of teams in here today. BMC Racing, 4 riders, Cadiz, Robinson, Horsley and Pino. The Dirt First squad, Thompson, Young and Miller. The Inner Fight squad, 3 riders for them as well. Bachowski, Kriwanos, as well as Trujillo. The Level Racing 1 squad, West, Morgan, Allport and Bradley. Level Racing 2, well, they have got Kirk, White, Van der Zandt and Haggerty. On the Rivet squad, Bulgarian, Sanchez and Royev. And we've also got Salt Factory Team UAE racing in Category 4. And they've got Cirillo, Abello, Castro and Lenador. Niazak's captained by Gonzalez, Level Revolution by Matt Jacobs, Level Racing by Lindeberg. The 5W4T team, Ioannis. Will they be able to match the pace and power of the rest of this huge pack who set off 61 riders on our entry list? That's a huge race field out and racing in Category 4. Emma, who was playing hardball last week or last couple of weeks?
Last week, Joshua Haggerty from Level Racing 2 took the win. Christopher Morgan from Level Racing 1 took second place. Henrik van der Zandt took third from Level Racing 2. Fourth was Bedoya, and fifth was Betts. All 5 of those riders on the start sheets today. But Cridland's come up from Category 4, as we already mentioned. And here today also Torsten Holtz, Sandro Daniel, Peter Connell is here, Christian Spiedel, who came up from Category 5 not long ago, Daniel Valencia, Edison Gomez, Enrico Quadrelli, Jer Grun is here. He could go well today. Nick Squillari as well in the mix, as of course the 11 teams that you talked about, Matt. Well, the Category 4 pack rolling strongly up and over 40 kilometres an hour. One rider just off the back, JD Abello, is in the mix today as well. And Abello, this could be a course that suits him. Dirt First, interesting squad. Thompson, Young and Miller, they could go well his day. We've seen JJ Miller go really well on the Sunday Race Club, but could be a course for him today in Belgium. Well, the pack's still continuing to push on the front. Interestingly, they've not settled down yet in Category 4. The pace moving strongly on the front at the moment. I'm looking at Pino. Pino's putting out 8 watts per kilo at the moment, but the pace at the front really pushing. The stretch on this group through this first flat 6 kilometres of racing here in Belgium, well, Category 4, no slouches. They are absolutely masters of a fast start, but look at the damage. Look at the stretch on the group. They've not even hit the sprint yet. Now, it is a really interesting manoeuvre here, because if you are looking at heading into that sprint at the 2 kilometre marker and you want to contend for the sprint competition, you don't want to have gone with the push on the front, but you don't want to have established too much of a gap. It's a really fine maneuver as to what do you do, what tactics do you put into play. Luke Allport covering the move. There he is on the bike in the Pain Cave. Great to see you, Luke. Fabulous to see you in the mix right at the front of the Category 4 pack. He's gone with the move, not contesting the sprint, and that actually is one of these benefits of the stretch. If you are at the front of the pack, you can see the sprints coming now through. Beautiful shot of sprinting technique as those riders come right the way through the pack, go up and out and over the top. we're going to take a look and see who has done that. But that could well be Mason Roca, the rider we saw in the Echelon Racing League, putting in some strong performances. But it's not. Christian Spiedel is the rider who is going to take the green skin suit and set the early pace in that sprint competition in Category 4.
So Category 4 going through our sprint, Category 3 down on the start line. If you thought the field size in Category 4 was big, it's even bigger in Category 3. Let's run you through our teams. The Level Elite team. Well, that is Von Haren and Bakken. Got Rushmer, Rimborg and Solly in there as well. The Anzac squad, Cardona, Bloom and Brook. The Otoroa Alliance, Ace and Wojciech. We're going to see if the Ride Club Finland squad can do it for today. Peak and Tweaker racing for them. The Sandstorm team have got 3 riders, Fenderich, Gates and Guerra. And what's up? Kowalski, Sur and Clays. Big team representation here today. It'll be even bigger next week because remember, when we go to our finals at the end of the month, the team competition comes into play. Quick plea from me, if you are racing in the qualifiers, please make sure you put your team name, if you're racing for a team, down on the entry list, because if you don't, we don't know you're racing for that team. It does make our life a little easier. Category 3, the riders are up and racing.
You want your life to be easier?
I certainly like to be able to mention all those people representing their teams in whatever category. In Category 3, they're up and away. We never have any problems persuading our riders to put in their team name when there's a team prize on offer. But guys, do the same for us. Do us a favour when it's not team competition.
The challenge is we do see movement between categories
and teams
during the qualifiers and even into the finals as performances grow and develop.
If in doubt, put a team name down. You can always change it.
Well, let's just take a little look, shall we? Patrick Bloom from the Anzacs took the win last week. We're in with Walter Clays at the moment. Look at that. Doesn't want to push too hard. Wants to stay in the group, but doesn't want a replication of what was going on in Category 4. Well, Category 3 is our largest race field today with 64 riders on the start sheets. As I mentioned, Bloom took the win for the Anzacs last week. Guerra in 2 from Sandstorm. Wojnash took 3rd. Damsgaard took 4th. Rick Van Erck took the sprint. Van Vellegem. Sorry, Stan. Stan Van Vellegem took 5th place. Niall Beatty took the climb competition overall. Really interesting to see that. In fact, Van Erck and Beatty, the riders who took the sprint and the climb competition, neither of them finishing it in the top 5, just showing what can be done.
It is an incredible competition. It's going to be very interesting to see who comes away with the end prize today. Henry Easton, one of our regular riders, and certainly a rider who I think could well excel today. So evening, Henry, morning, middle of the night, another of our riders riding on the far side of the globe from our studios here. And certainly a rider whose commitment cannot be doubted. He's been a regular competitor. And he's, of course, a rider who we know can take victory.
Well, and I love it because, like you say, we've got riders from all around the world, you know, whether they're in New Zealand and Australia, and this is late in the evening, whether they're in the USA and Canada and they're riding in the very, very early hours of the morning, or for what some people would call the middle of the night, versus the range across maybe the UK and Europe, where at the moment in France, it's 10:47 in the morning.
10:47. We've been in the studio for hours. Quite incredible.
No. You cannot complain.
I'm not. I don't have to race up these hills, which is always going to be tough stuff. Category 4 already dead nearly there. 5.1k covered on the right-hand side of your screen for the Category 4 bunch, the main bunch with JD Abello that we're in with at the moment. The leader's a bit further on the climb, coming in at 6 kilometres. A few breakaway riders down the road. In Category 3, though, we're into the Ghent City Sprint. This is the big kick out here, and anybody who had a little bit of ground is going to see it swiftly diminishing behind them, because you can see big squeeze, big push coming on, the sprint through. Watch these riders, all of this group going for this. William Kaplinski at the moment, he's come from the back in towards the front. Has he done enough? He goes in underneath the line. I'm not sure he has. I think that is going to be Van Erck who's going to take away the green skin suit of sprint leader. 2 sprints today.
Wow.
Go on, Emma. You've got the numbers.
Yeah, so Rick Van Erck sets fastest time 1,133 watts through that sprint. That's 13.5 watts per kilo with an average heart rate of 181. Rick Van Erck takes the green skin suit. Patrick Bloom ran him close. I tell you, just behind, again over 1,000 watts. In fact, 3 riders going over 1,000 watts average so far in the sprint, because Kristen Spiedel from Category 4 also did the same.
Fantastic riding, fantastic sprinting, but no attack over the top here. You can see the paces come right off. Van Erck dropping down to sub 3 watts per kilo. John Brun, Largo, Veles, Rimborg on his way as well. Eric Rimborg, you're not going to see me dance today. Thank you very much for the message, but it's not happening. If you want to catch my very dodgy dancing in the background in the studio, you need to follow at biking_Emma, who surreptitiously will record me in some pre-show moment. Not happening today. On the run through, thank goodness. Did get caught out either
Other
dancing in the
broadcasts are
background on the way through. No, they're not. There are no other broadcasts but the Sunday Race Club. If you subscribe to one race broadcast, please do subscribe to MyWhoosh on YouTube, on Twitch TV. Catch up with all of the action on the Sunday Race Club. Catch up with our Category 4 riders on to climb number 1 of 6 climbs, 3 of which are categorized today. The Quarter Kia already pushing the riders into that red zone, as indicated by the red chevrons. Those red chevrons matching, of course, the red jersey. And that is awarded for the UAE Tour, which kicks off, I think it's tomorrow, if I remember correctly. And do make sure you give it a follow. You'll see the riders climbing on some of the same courses that we use on the Sunday Race Club. Follow it at the UAE Tour official and see if the riders like Tadej Pogačar can keep up with the riders up here. The men's tour kicking off, the women's tour just having finished.
Well, talking about just having finished, Mason Rocker has just finished the Echelon Racing League. He's now in the mix on the Sunday Race Club, and great to see him here. Henrik van der Zandt is in here, part and parcel of the chasing group. JD Miller is there as well as Luke Allport, but they are chasing the 2 riders up the road on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side of your screen, it is indeed Category 3, and Rick Van Erck, Patrick Bloom, back into the group.
So the riders on the move, onto the climb. You can see the riders really pushing on Category 4. Remember, it's a 2-part climb, a 2-stage climb here today on the Quarter Kia. You kick up the first part, we drop back down and give away all that height that you worked hard to gain. And then you have to kick once again up to the top of the climb. Good to see that Cy Bradley is in this mixing Category 4, one of the coaches on the MyWhoosh live coaching. Make sure you jump on to live. So this is going to be absolutely key. Can he walk the walk and not the walk here today? He's got to be able to do the business here today on the climb. Can he ride the ride? Probably the most appropriate thing here today. He's certainly been telling people how to do it, and he's been doing that himself. You can see that when you jump onto the live coaching. Now, don't forget, live coaching, we mentioned this in the break. We've also mentioned it in the women's show. Don't forget, Tuesday, live coaching with the one and only Peter Sagan, one of the riders who is going to be taking you through the screens. You can jump on board there. I know there are a few people there for the cafe ride when he was doing a little bit of a chat with Cy. That you can jump on board and ride with him in a coaching session. That's going to be happening the next few Tuesday evenings if you are on CET or on UTC or on GMT or something in the middle of the time zones around the globe. It'll be a little bit later on in the day if you're on Gulf Standard Time. Now, time's ticking on because we've got our category 6, 5, 4 and 3 away. We have 2 more race categories to go. Category 2 in green and category 1 in yellow. Category 2 in the green. Another of our big race fields here today, not as big as categories 3 and 4. Some big squads in here as well. The Abu Dhabi team, Ivan Nuki and Mads Buster. Don't forget, if you want to catch up with what Ivan Nuki is all about, go have a watch back of last week's show.
Oh, the spotlight.
The spotlight was one truly on Ivan Nuki. A big thank you to him. Abus Esports, they're represented by Matthias Vanhey and Olivier Simmons. We've got the UAE clan team, Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic and SS all in action. Don't forget the Smarties squad. They're our biggest squad here today. 5 riders: Angus Benson, Christoph Thiem, Ricardo Betty, Moritz Ritter and Simon Volta. And of course we have got the UAE Falcons, Ahmed El Tanaji and Zaid Hamdan also taking it to a race start. The Team Ice Cream, Benedetti, I think, should be on the start list with the Hitman's Ross Fawcett, along with CD cycling teams Daniel Pitto and BHERT Stasco, but they are just riders of one rather than a team of more than one.
I'd like to know whether the Smarties represent multicoloured chocolate confectionery or whether they are smart and they use their heads.
Well, like smart ties. Maybe. So they wear a tie and they're smart with they wear smart ties. Smart ties, smarties. No. Okay. Let's get back to our riders in the squad rather than their sartorial elegance. And so we get ready for race start. We're in with Matthias Vanhey, the clock counting down. Our penultimate race category ready to go. Last chance to qualify, last chance to get your second ride in that will take you into our team final where the team prizes come into play as well. Time to go racing. Category 2 away. We're in with Vanhey as he kicks down on those pedals. You can see him in person. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the avatars on the right-hand side of your screen as they head out and away. Quick reminder, remember, these riders, their jerseys will change to skin suits if they are leading in the green skin suit competition, aka the sprint competition. 2 sprints against City Sprint and the Thistlehoven Moen Sprint. And, of course, the climbs competition. 3 climbs, Kortekeer climb, the Eichenberg climb, and the Quermont climb, counting for those 50% of today's climbs, counting for the climbs competition. That is for a polka dot skin suit, the arches that indicate the start and finish of each of those segments, and it's fastest through the segment. Green for sprint, and guess what? Polka dot for the climb competition.
Yeah. Well, Trojanowski took first place here in category 2 last week. Ruben Dont took second, and the climb competition overall. Gledness, Mendakowicz and Graves rounded out the top 5. Simmons took the sprint competition, but we've got other riders in here as well. Andrew Downey is here, Daniel Hoyas, Daniel Tidholm, David Darn. Who else have we got in here? Well, I tell you what, we've got Jakob Bjorklund. He's in here. James Krasnich, Jonas Bjarhed is in here as well. Karl Kayen, Lasse Hansen is here. Peter Millerstick. You know, we've got the 3 Millersticks here. Lyndon in category 1, Peter in category 2, and Riley in category 6. It's a family affair, and we've got Samuel, Josh, and Tatu Koivunen as well.
It's a big race field, full of talent. One very talented rider, Ivan Nuki. Interesting, different shot of Ivan today. Full-on head-on shot, looking very low on the bike as always. The aerodynamics clearly not affecting him. He's got the shirt open, nice and warm, I'm sure, at the moment. In the pain cave, out of the saddle and just sitting nicely in that pack. And you can see there just making sure he stays focused on the screen. Afternoon, because I know that it's afternoon for Ivan at the moment. Inspirational coach for the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. If you go to Abu Dhabi, go down, support the club, get yourself down to Hidaria Island, get yourself down to the coffee shop, go have a look at the history. You can always stick your head around the door at Wolfie's as well, because Wolfie's got a concession in the Abu Dhabi cycling shop as well as their big shop next door. And in fact, if you are down there and you can't get to the side of the road to watch the Abu Dhabi stages or the Dubai stages, if you're in either of those cities in the UAE, you can go watch the race live at the bike shop. What better combination can you find other than going out and riding?
Well, can I just take a look at where we are in this Category 2 race at the moment? Trojanowski, last week's winner, is 12 seconds off the front of this pack, already round the bend, out of sight, out of mind. Matthias Van He pushing on here through the sprint. I don't think he's pushing on through the sprint. I think he's pushing on to catch Trojanowski. What a start to this Category 2 race. We're chatting away, and this rider, Marchand Trojanowski, is the rider off the... I've got to stop laughing. Off the front side, Carradine pushing on to Olivier Simmons.
I promise you, it's nothing I'm doing in the studio that's making Emma laugh. I'm literally just stood here drinking coffee while she's continuing.
The rider setting the fastest time in Category 2 through the sprint, Olivier Simmons, putting in a phenomenal time, but only good enough for 8th overall so far.
Got to do better than that, Ollie. Meanwhile, just in with Sarkading, I did wave Sud as he gave us a wave there on camera, and the rider with the live feed as well. Yeah, it's a great way of getting that extra information when you're racing. Has Michael Vink got a screen going? I'm sure he has. He's certainly got the legs to answer the moves. Let's have a run through our squads first of all. The Alpha Jaw team, 3 riders here declared. That's lined up with Jesse, Mikhail Kaminsky and Ollie Jones. The Boss Moves only squad, 2 riders on their squad today, Michael Vink and Said Safazedi. We've got the CD Racing team, 1 rider for them, Mikel Machado of Portugal. The Farmwood squad has the most riders in it today. They've declared us 4 riders. Bjorn Andreasen, Hayden Pucker, Johan Noren, Mikael Plantero. Don't discount the Wenger boys, Arnie Jacobs and Vidal Mayer. Good to see that we've got Mod in it here as well as Al Thebe and Al Halami as well. However, it's time to go racing. Last race start. The final race start in our final qualifier in February for 2025. We're in with Said Safrazedi, a man who has been so consistent in his racing. He's a rider who you can never discount from a top 5 performance and being in with the prize money. Let's see what he's going to do today. Can he get himself back up to the front?
Well, as the Category 1 pack roll, 28 riders on start sheets, 5 teams. Now, Joel Lewis has come up from Category 2. Last week, we saw him put in a massive effort to close the gap down. It was absolutely eye-watering, and he's been rewarded with an uplift into Category 1 today. Arnie Jacobs is on the screen as well. Now, Ollie Jones took 2nd overall, Lionel Vujasin 4th, Stefan Van Elst 5th. Jason Osborne versus Michael Vink. Osborne not here today. Racing gravel this weekend. Learnt a couple of lessons. Did Jason Osborne.
So he's riding gravel. Racing gravel?
Racing gravel. He learnt a couple of lessons. One of those being running in road shoes with road pedals through muddy puddles is not a great option, particularly when you try and get your cleat back in.
What?
So I think lesson number 1 for Jason Osborne. Mountain bike, shoes and pedals next time.
Yeah, not many, Benny. I tell you, someone who could be handing out the lessons, Lyndon Milostich. Lyndon was racing on the road, got a 2nd in the road race, I think it was yesterday. Really, really good performance by him, riding for his new team. So congratulations on that. Great way to hit out for your new team. Taking away podium position. Great result for him. At the moment, the top spot on the podium, if we were to stop the race right now, would be Bjorn Andreasen, who went out on 7.5 watts per kilo, wanting to rip it up from the start. And we've got riders off the back of the group already. We're 1.5k into what is a 45-kilometre race, gents.
Let's get it started.
I don't think you need to say that to Mr. Andreasen. He got started the moment we started to get wound up here. We're running into the sprint. Who's going to want to take away top spot in this sprint? Remember, each of our segments, there is a prize available for you for 1 rider only per category per segment.
Well, whilst we're talking about prizes, can I just congratulate Thomas Thrall on defending his Canadian National Championships title last Sunday. So congratulations to Tom Thrall. Resplendent yet again in the Canadian National Cycling Esports Champions jersey for 2025.
Absolute superstar. I mean, you certainly wouldn't ever want to. That's one man you want to leave behind and never take into a sprint.
Don't take
now, talking
sprint.
about sprints, Jesper Paradines putting the big kick in here.
Look at that.
There was no back to come to the front pretty much. That was about pure power going down the road. So let's see where they're going to end up when it comes in. Emma's just watched the numbers go up onto her screens. Has Paradines done enough? It looks like he has.
I'm going to give you this in reverse order. Paul Skierski, 14.3 watts per kilo through the sprint. Vidal Mer, 14.5. Jasper Paradines, 15.7 watts per kilo through the sprint. 1,129 watts average to set 18.5. The fastest time today and to take the win in Category 1. Olivier Simmons takes the win in Category 2. Rick Van Erck, fabulous, second fastest time overall, that from Rick Van Erck in Category 3. Kristen Spiedel in Category 4, 19.2. Diego Navarro in Category 5, 19.6. And Marius Fossid in Category 6 takes the fastest time there. I'm just doing a double check, all of those riders, I think, with the exception of Navarro, over 1,000 watts.
Big power, big sprint, big kick. Paradines keeps the pressure on. They're still chasing Andreasen, who's got that gap at the front, going for a solo ride. He's on the left-hand side of your screen, down the road. The dot in the distance. On the right-hand side of your screen, Category 2 are on to climb number 1. This is the climb of the Cortakia. They are here on the Cortakia climb number 1. However, there's some way to go for our Category 1 riders to go over the big bridge here, working to keep Andreasen's gap minimised down here. We're just in with Lionel Vajasin as they go through town here. We can see him in person on the left-hand side of your screen. The avatar on the right-hand side. The escapees just up the road at the moment, but this is about pulling that gap down. It's about pulling the brake back, not giving away too much ground. Anybody riding in Category 1 is a danger to the rest of these riders because it is such a star-studded, packed race field. That's left-hand side of your screen. Right-hand side of your screen, Mr. X100, the rider we're focused on in with this group as we come on to the steeper sections of this climb. It gets steeper as we go up. There's a slight pause at the moment before we go on to the upper slope. You can see that gradient dropping to 1.8 watts per kilo there. So what's 1.8%? That's how you measure gradient on the way up, 1.8%. Before we go up, we're already up to 7, but the steep step that's coming is the one that really could do the damage. At the moment, this is the leading group. 2 riders distance off the back of the pack. Ritter and Ospina, the 2 in shots. There are riders even further back than that, but at the moment, this is the big push. 1 rider clear at the front, according to our screens. That's really interesting that in theory, we've got 1 rider breaking away at the front of that group. Not sure who that is. We'll try and grab a shot of them at some point as we go back with the leaders on the left of your screen. Vidal Mer, Bjorn Andreasen, 10 seconds clear of Kaminsky, Jacobs and Van Els.
Yeah, and that's really interesting to see. But over the Cortakia already are Category 3, 4, 5 and 6. Patrick Bloom setting the fastest time up the Cortakia in Category 3. Nick Squilari setting the fastest time in Category 4 over the Cortakia. Arthur Sciorra setting the fastest time in Category 5. And Dylan Kennett setting the fastest time in Category 6.
Well done to everybody taking away prizes so far. Don't forget there is plenty more prizes up for grabs on the duration of the race. Each of our timed segments with a prize, the overall in each of our competitions with prizes as well. We take a multi-view of our race at the moment. Category 1, top left-hand side of your screen. Category 2, well, they're going to be working their way down. Now you can see Mr. X100 working his way through this field as it's strung out going up the climb. Category 3, they're on the far side on the descent. Category 5, the riders, category 6, the riders that we're looking at the moment, bottom right hand side, well down the road. In with category 2, going over the top of the part 1. This is key now. Chase on now. Daniel Hoyas, Mr. X100, Ivan Nuki and co. They will get themselves into the group. They've got to keep kicking. They've got to keep on pushing. They do not want that group to go. The pack in front have the draft advantage, and this is now about making sure that you put that dig in. Mr. X100 coming at 7 watts per kilo. About to go on to Ivan Nuki's wheel here. They're on this descent down. It will level, and this is where they really need to push on. You can see this move coming down here. Absolutely a key here as they go down. Nuki now winds it up. He's, I think they're waiting for Mr. X100. The pair of riders now need to work together to get back on. He gave a little bit of draft advantage, and this is absolutely key.
For me, Ivan Nuki, absolutely phenomenal climber on the long, long climbs. The short, sharper climbs, sorry, Ivan, I'm not sure whether they suit him as well. But I have to say his resilience and his determination and his absolute attitude to ride and race, never discount him.
No, I wouldn't want to go on to any kind of climb with Ivan. I think he'd leave me for dead on any of those. And I think showing there a bit of team spirit there just to help back Mr. X100, who a regular visitor to go see Ivan now and race and ride. So the riders on the way in to part 2, the second part of this climb, and the front of this race is fractured all over the place in category 2. The climb here, you can see we've got a steep kick, it levels and then it kicks again as we go up to the top of part number 2. Looking back here, you can see those riders about to make contact. Miss X100 along with Ivan Nuki, along with Hoyos. But as they're about to make contact, here we go. We're on part 2 of the climb. The front of this race stretched and spread out at the moment as they make their way up. Remember, it's a tight left-hand turn, and then the banner comes. They've got some distance to do, but they've got some riders to close down as well. Our original escapee on the very front of this race, losing distance, losing ground, and losing advantage as this big pack start to push. Just in with SS at the moment, in with this pack as they go on the climb. You can see the red starting to kick in as these riders continue to push the way up the climb here.
Yeah, X100 is not going to get back on at this pace at the moment, but Graves is there. Khan is there. Khan Kane is in the mix. And the rider who went out hard first thing, Trojanowski. Well, I wonder if he's still the rider on the front, but I tell you something, they are pulling him back and they are absolutely motoring. Ivan Nuki, X100 are not going to get back onto the group, but they may well come together and be able to work together to close the gap down. Matthias Vanhe, who we were in with earlier on today, 23 seconds back now. Daniel Tidholm, Daniel Hoyas there as well, looking like they may form a group further back on the road. This first climb absolutely taken its toll on the Category 2 riders. Mendakowicz, Fawcett, Morel, Kointsnen and Khan Kayan, the 5 quickest riders over the top side. Carradine is there, Bert Kayan is there. The Kayan brothers go well in Belgium. It really, really does suit them. Allenjung, Glednis, all in the mix, and I'm looking at it at the moment and I'm thinking, well, X100, who we are in with at the moment, who is 7 seconds back on the leading group, is the 26th rider over the top. So 24 riders still in that leading group in Category 2.
Chase on behind, the pressure on. People have to try and close this down. And this is the work that's being done here by Mr. X100, racing to get back onto the wheels. This is where it's critical, making sure you don't panic if you get dropped, making sure that you stay within your limits on the steep section so that you then have the opportunity and the energy levels left to come back on. So after being dropped off that main pack, we're going to see Mistakes 100 get onto the wheels. Nuki's at 16 seconds here, and that is a big gap. That could be game over, but we know he's got the endurance to get back on. Can he get back into this pack? We're currently in with Che Howeiler. You can see the effort there written all over the face of Che as he is in this group. The chasers are coming behind. There's a little bit of a drop down to come where the speed will go up and that draft advantage will increase. Keeping in this group is key, and gaps can go at any time. You can see the fractures occurring on the way through here. So dangerous as they make the way in. You can't afford to relax until you're almost at the very front of this group.
Well, let's be realistic. They've gone up and over the Qualifier. That's a 2-stage climb. And then they've attacked on the flat section on the top. They are not even on the descent yet. You know, can you imagine your mentality of, I've got to work to the top of the climb. I've got to work. Great, I'm with the leading group at the top of the climb. And then the attacks just keep coming. The strength of these Category 2 racers, phenomenal. My word of the day.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Is that your word of the day?
I think so. I'm not going to say it very often. But yes, I think this performance at the moment on the right-hand side of your screen, this race is phenomenal.
You know, when you say phenomenal, only one thing occurs to me.
What?
It's the news that Tadej Pogacar might be riding Paris-Roubaix and the images of him in the Roubaix-Arenberg Forest for the UAE team. That is going to be some exciting racing. So when you talk about
Paris-Roubaix, I have to say, is one of the races of the year to watch.
It is. There's some absolute classics out there. I'm absolutely loving the fact, of course, in the MyWhoosh studios when we were down there and watching the esports World Championships back in October, coming and watching the racing and saying how much she enjoyed it.
Yeah, but do you know what one of the best things about Paris-Roubaix is?
Go on.
The fact they put the goats on the cobbles before the race to clear the grass.
I'm not sure if Ricardo Panizza can tell us that there have been goats on the cobbles of the Qualifier climb. At the moment, we certainly can see the cobbles underneath the wheels of our riders in the Category 1 lead group. But as to whether they have been grazed clean by goats, I'm not so sure.
Well, on the right-hand side of your screen, that is the Category 2 race going through the Tissenhoven-Morven Sprint. On this screen, however, we are watching the Category 1 race unfold. Stefan van Elst, Mikhail Kaminski, Ollie Jones, Ricardo Panizza, Christoph Kroll have just all gone past Jakob Bjorklund in Category 2. They've got to the top of the Qualifier, and Stefan van Elst hits the top spot. It is a rider who have we seen just getting better and better again, and I do love watching him race. So Stefan van Elst's fastest time in Category 1 up the Qualifier, 6 minutes 13 seconds, 6 minutes 41 seconds. Maciej Mendakowicz in Category 2, Patrick Bloom 6 minutes 58 seconds in Category 3, Nick Squilari 7:16 Category 4, Arthur Sciorra Category 5 7 minutes 46. And with 8 minutes 25, fastest time in Category 6, Dylan Kennett.
Really good moves there. Fastest time set by the Iceman, Stefan van Elst. But you saw as he came through, he was part of a driving line of riders. A big chain really putting the pressure on there. They've distanced riders. You've got Group 1 clear at the front. You've got 2 riders sandwiched between them and a chasing group behind. This is going to be really, really key. What can they do? Can they open this gap? Can they keep it clear? Remember, we are missing the world champion who has been so unbeatable when he's been out and racing. Only think really able to challenge Osborne. Osborne not with us today. Back in with Category 2, in with Simon Volter at the moment from Germany. Tucked down in the pain cave, out of the saddle at the moment. Really working well in this group of riders. You can see the race fracturing in pretty much all of our race categories. This is the second group on the road. They're almost one group. The riders sandwiched in between, but you can see the pressure is on to get into the pack before we reach the final base of this descent. The climb of the Qualifier leads us into the Tisselhoven-Molden Sprint, and that is coming up very, very shortly. We're at 14.6k. Sorry, we're on the other side of it. It's 14.6k. Just got to drop in our way down here. Let's see how this group go. If you're not in this group before you're on that long flat run across to the Valkenburg, you're going to be in trouble. One rider versus all these and the pace that they're moving.
Category 2 pack has not settled. Settle and Category 2 are just two things that have just not gone together today at all. Frederick Gombert doing a great job getting onto the back of Christoph Thiem's wheel. Phil Graves is in there as well as Simon Volter. But they are not the group who are leading on the road. The group ahead of them they've got to close the gap down or that pack will just roll away. Well, Trojanowski, Gledness, Morel, Mendakowicz and Koinsinen are in the leading group, and I think the juncture is about to be made. The question is, will all of those riders in the chase group get on, or will some of them not make it? In Category 1, they are up and over the quarter Kier, and the group at the front of this race is big. Jones, Kroll, Millerstick, Tugels, Andreasen, Panizza, all in here as they come into the Thyssen-Hoven-Molln sprint.
Really, really key to be in position in the right place at the right time. Go on, Emma.
Sprint goes through. So we're taking a look, and it's Kaminski who's launched the sprint at 10 watts per kilo. Kaminski went from the back of the group to the front of the group. Will it do him any good in the sprint competition overall? Because Jasper Paradians is in the sprint leaders skin suit. Vidal Mayer came through in second place last time round. Vidal Mayer's just put in another strong performance. But I think Paradians, who's not in that leading group, may well out-sprint Mayer when he comes through, because at the moment Mayer is not at the top of the table. The fastest time in the sprint at the moment, Brent Sensing in Category 5. Yes, Category 5 holding the fastest time in the sprint with 18.4. Rick van Urk, Category 3, 18.5. Jakob Bjorklund, 18.9. In fact, Vidal Mayer's time of 19.7 doesn't even, only puts him fifth out of all of those leaders, because Gomez also faster at 19.4.
News just coming in. Hot off the presses. Jasper Paradians just coming through the sprint, puts third best time of anybody behind Sensing and Van Urk. That means he's going to take away top spot. He'll rob that from there, and he will take away, I think, the sprint win overall.
In Category 1.
In Category 1, so he's taken both sprints off the back of the pack, racing through individually. Really good ride by him.
Competitions within competitions.
It is. It means that you can sprint at the back and you've still got something to keep racing for, maybe if you're distanced off that on the climb, and gives that extra added dimension. Now, let's go in with Category 2. We'd seen the leading group go through. We'd seen it break, drop, swell. We are seeing at the moment this the leading group together of 4 riders behind the rest of that pack. It's almost apart. It keeps coming back together. It keeps reforming, and it keeps on breaking. The leader stroke winner of this race really has to come from this pack for me. If you've been dropped by this stage, you're probably not going to be in there at the finish, because no matter what your powers of recovery, you're not going to move in front. Meanwhile, front of the Category 1 race, Mikhail Kaminski going through that sprint, continuing to stretch his legs out at the moment. He's got 4 seconds on Andreasen, Pucker, Kroll, and the rest of the Category 1 bunch. Not enough, you would suggest, to take it into the next
climb. But not when
climb.
Andreasen is kicking at 8 watts per kilo behind and Pucker's just jumped on his wheel. So Kaminski out front at the moment, was looking for a little sneaky getaway, but Andreasen, well, he's got his wits about him today, and he's not letting anybody go down the road.
No, nobody's going to go off down the road down there, I don't think. I just can't see that's going to be the case. But let's see how the riders go. So at the moment, just on the climb here of the Eichenberg climb, this is finishing at 29 kilometers. Dylan Kennett goes over the top, leads them through the polka dot skin suit wearer for taking climb number 1, does the same in climb number 2, goes through taking away the fastest time at the moment. Remember, the results are live. In Category 6, they're the furthest riders down the road. They are coming, they're heading towards basically 2/3 race distance in about 800 meters time.
Well, Dylan Kennett sets the fastest time in Category 6. Up the Eichenberg climb, Drew Abbott, Simon Llewellyn, Amadeo Rizzari, and Teron, the riders chasing. So one rider out front, which is Kennett, but only just 8 seconds he is clear of the chasing 4.
They're on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Bottom left-hand side of your screen, you've got Category 3, top right-hand side Category 2, and top left-hand side Category 1. Category 1 on the flatlands, heading across from the first third in towards the second third, the middle sections of this race route. Category 2, they are currently on the way up the Valkenburg. If you cast your mind back to that course profile, the central third of this course, 3 hills, Valkenburg, Eichenberg Hill, then the categorized Eichenberg climb. We're on number 1 of those 3 climbs. This is the Valkenburg. There's a big long flat section at the top, which does give you the opportunity to get on easier than if we go over the Eichenberg Hill, where it rolls over, and certainly much easier than the Eichenberg climb, when you get to the top, you almost tip like you're on a seesaw and you're pointing back down again very quickly.
Well, right-hand side of your screen, Category 2. Left-hand side of your screen, Category 1. And Kaminsky is back in the pack. Panizovu, Yassin, Jones, Kroll, Pucker, Safrazadi, all in the group. Good to see Sai Safrazadi after those early issues getting back on board. Class rider, Sai Safrazadi. And fabulous, because he jumps in and drops into the live coaching sessions. It's fabulous to see him there.
It jumps in live.
He does indeed.
Excellent. It shows you that if you want to ride with the best, get yourself onto.
You never know who's going to turn up in those sessions.
You don't. You don't. I've had a look. I've had a little look in. Had a sneaky watch. You can watch those sessions as well if you're registered on MyWhoosh, just to see what could be in store for you. But they do vary. All the coaches with different styles as well, which obviously makes a difference as we watch the Category 2 riders here at the moment. Mendakowicz, the rider at the back of this group with work to do. He won't want to lose the back of this pack. They're going to go over onto the causeway between the sides of the lake on the top of the Valkenburg. No lake on top of the Valkenburg in person, but it is here on MyWhoosh. Very distinctive part of the course, which means you can identify where the riders are. They've got this flat summit before they drop down in Category 2. Category 1 are on the way in to that same section. 18.3k, the start of the climb. Category 1 at the moment, 17.4. There is a little bit of a dip before you go on to the climb. You need to use that just to get that pace and speed up on the way in. Category 1 leaders at the moment with a 12-second gap back to Mikel Plantero. He's leading the chasers behind the group on your screen on the left-hand side.
Well, Category 5, I can tell you, just gone over the Eichenberg climb. Mark Tong going over the fastest. Alexander Giraldo, Ola Warren, Arthur Sciorra and Emil Ivanov, the riders in the top 5 going over that climb in Category 5. This is a Category 6 race at 31.8 kilometres. Dylan Kennett now has 24 seconds on the chasing group of 4.
And currently leading the climb competition. I'm going to just take back my statement that he had the fastest time up the climb, because Marius Fossaid has actually come through quicker and taken those points from him. So he's now got 5 points from that climb to Kennett's 4. It comes down, remember, it's about the overall points for the overall lead. 2 climbs complete for Category 6. The last climb for them to complete that's part of the climb classification, that is the climb of the Quermont, and that comes at 36.6k. It is a 2.2 kilometer climb, so similar in some ways to the first part of the Cortakia. It's very similar shape.
One of the riders that should watch for in Category 6 today is Roshamaraj Teron. He finished second to Kennett in Qualifier 1 on the Vessel Rock course in February, which is obviously earlier on this month. That's quite a similar course because of the nature of the climbing. I think he could go well today, but to close Kennett down is a big ask at the moment now. He's got over 25 seconds.
It's difficult, and I think Kenneth is the sort of rider who will push to the finish all the way. I can't see him backing off. He hasn't gone early with a view he's going to fade. We'll get back to him a little bit later on as we go back to the category 1 riders here. As you can see, this group already well spread out. The leading group at 18.9k. We're in with Panizza at the moment. You saw him in person, out of the saddle, his avatar out of the saddle as well. You've got Andreasen in this mix, pulled back into the group. You can see that Thrall is in here, Panizza, Puka, Vink, Kroll. This is the real who's who. The chasing riders behind Bird at the moment, trying to close down onto Arnie Jacobs. Jacobs has lost the lead group, so has Vidar Mayer. Machado the same. Joel Lewis is further back, as is Stuart Miller. Bird with work to do. Here's a Canadian rider trying to close down Portuguese rider Machado. He's on his heels. They're now going to pick up Jacobs. The Netherlands rider gets past on this climb. He held on a little bit longer to the wheels, but now dropping back past and going to be getting to the power down, I would imagine, trying to come back if he's got anything left in the tank. But the ask, I think, too big now to come back to the leading group. Right-hand side of the screen, 19.5k covered. They are really powering on. It's 400 meters of distance difference, but that is a big time gap. It's just under 30 seconds between the leaders and the chasers. As Thrall in person on the left-hand side of your screen. The fans are blowing. He's got the screen there. He's out of the saddle. He's using that power to take him up over the top of the climb and keep the pressure on as Andreasen attacks over the top. Really wanted to make those legs sting. He doesn't let off the throttle as they go over the top. It's not just climbing, it's climbing up, over and through the top of the climb that is making the difference at the moment in the race.
Well, someone always told me when I was doing a lot of fell racing in my 20s, you run over the top of the climb, you don't get to the top and draw breath. That's what wins the race, and it's exactly the same here in Belgium on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Cup. Now, Ross Fawcett in the Category 2 race, right at the front of the pack here. Do you know, Fawcett, this is a good course for Ross Fawcett. We've seen him do well here before. Ika Morel in the mix as well. And I don't want to say this out loud, but I might. It's looking like we may be seeing a settling in Category 2.
So whilst we potentially maybe see a settling in Category 2 and potentially Category 1, let's give you the Eichenberg climb result. Category 4, Daniel Cadiz taking top spot in Category 4 from Simon Betts. And then there's going to be Van Zandt followed by, I think, Carlos Alberto coming through, then Haggerty, then Pino. Just taking a look in Category 3, they've just come over the top, and Bernard Wojnask went over with a slight gap from Nicol Cansara in Category 3, then Henrik Oyer immediately behind the place, then Mathieu Kalman in 4th, Lewis Ridley in 5th position. That is over the top of the Eichenberg climb. Second of our three climbs to go. 6 climbs total, 3 categorized climbs. Done the Kortekeer climb, done the Eichenberg climb in those categories. That just leaves us Category 2 and Category 1 to complete the climb. This is the run towards the summit here of this climb, but this is a little further back because at 24k, this is the Eichenberg Hill rather than the Eichenberg climb.
It's a double dastardly duo.
With a downward descending, I've run out of words.
Matt gets caught out with his words today, but the Eichenberg Hill and the Eichenberg climb, the duo of climbs in swift succession. Then a 7.6 kilometre run to the base of the Quermont, and that is pretty much flat before you hit the Quermont. Then you descend into the Patenberg, and then it's a technical finish here to the checkered flag on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are here in Belgium. 45 kilometres of racing, 492 metres of climbing, and the Category 2 race has been hot since the start.
You're just saying hot because it's cold in the studios today.
It's not as cold as it was earlier. But Christoph
true.
Dream, Simon Walter, Daniel Pinto, all at the front of the pack. We're in with Simon Walter, and I tell you something, has that chap actually sat down today on his bike, because he is up and out of the saddle. Now, interestingly, being up and out of the saddle, one of the techniques that is used a lot in cycling esports, and people say, well, people get up and out of the saddle on the road. Yes, they do, but never for a 30-minute climb at being up and out of the saddle all the time, and that they could well be indoors.
You've got to remember, they are different disciplines. Comparing indoor cycling with road cycling with mountain biking is a bit like comparing hang gliding with a propeller plane engine plane and a jet aeroplane and a helicopter. They're all blinking different because you don't have aerodynamics in esports cycling. You can be stood vertical upright, and it makes no difference. Also, you're not having to control the bike, and I think this is one of the key things. These riders are developing, aren't they? They really are putting in some real specific skills. There's no braking, there's no cornering, there's none of this controlling the bike. You think how much energy you expend controlling the bike on a big alpine downhill, or if you're on a mountain bike.
Well, it's exhausting, isn't it?
You use that energy.
Anybody who's ridden down off the Tourmalet or off of Alpe d'Huez, even as an amateur or just a cycling enthusiast, it's as exhausting riding down as it is riding up.
So if you think you can put all that energy that you save from doing that because you're riding in a controlled environment, then you're going to get yourself in and you're going to be racing, and you're going to be able to race absolutely flying. Now, just taking a little bit of a look down on the screen, just keeping a check on the riders as to where they are.
Well, Dylan Kennett, currently the leader of the race overall at the moment, leading Category 6. They were the first riders out of the start pen today. He has literally just gone underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the start of the Quermont climb. So he is the first rider to hit our final categorised climb today. He'll then go through the descent and into the Papenburg. He now has over a minute on the chase group. On the left-hand side of your screen, well, we were talking about it being a family affair with 3 members of the same family across 3 different categories. In the Millerstick family, Lyndon, well, he is in Category 1, and he's gone for an attack off the front at the 24.3 kilometre marker.
Well, why not? Why not go on the attack? He's on form. He's racing well for his team. He's clearly riding at the top of his game. And because he's a young rider, still exploring what his limits are, I'm sure.
Let's just say this for our viewers. He was too young last year to qualify for the Australian national team to be represented at the World Championships, even though he was at the level where he could have qualified. So this young rider, and when we say young rider, he is under 20.
I can't wait to see what he can do if he makes it to the World Championships this year. If you want to watch the World Championships back, do make sure you jump on, subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel, and make sure you take a look back at the World Championships, the in-person World Championships, where MyWhoosh brought all of the leading riders that qualified to Abu Dhabi for that in-person final, riding against each other in the same place at the same time with that live crowd. Fantastic atmosphere. Do have a watch back and watch those winning performances by Mary Kate McCarthy and Jason Osborne, our 2 World Championships for 2024. Who will be those champions in 2025? Will it be Lyndon Milostic on the left? It might be a little bit longer for Riley.
I mean, I'm talking about Lyndon being a young rider. Riley is his younger brother. And has only recently joined the Sunday Race Company. He's joined in Category 6, and he's doing really well. He's been progressing really strongly. He wasn't on the podium when he started. He didn't make the top 5. He started with the climbing and the sprint competition, and then he made the top 5. And last week, he had his best ever performance. He finished 3rd in Category 6 last week in Colombia. Now, Dad Peter races Category 2, if you're wondering where the 3rd member of this family is.
And it's great to see people of all ages. Don't think, oh, I'm too young, I'm too old. We've got riders who are racing in their 70s, right the way down through the age categories. And don't think, oh, I'm not good enough. jump on board, come and race. You know these are real performances by real riders. The verification, yes, you do have to jump through a number of hoops and
But they're
meet
there
those
for a
steps,
reason.
and they are there for a reason, to ascertain that you're a real person, to make sure that you've got the correct weight, that you're the right height, to
You're
make
riding
sure
the right
that you're riding
equipment.
the right equipment, and that is accurate enough to produce an accurate result. And of course, all that part of the world-leading MyWhoosh verification
But
system.
you know then that every single other person on the start line has had to do that as well.
Exactly. Exactly, and that is really, really key. Now, Martin Trzaskowski on the climb here with Mr. X100. They've got Navarro just ahead. He's wearing the green skin suit, in fact, of Category 5. So the leader of the sprints in Category 5 is about to see Category 2 come up and past at the moment. The gap is there. It's 6 seconds to Schurlander along with Fawcett, Volta and Co. Interesting move, stretching this gap right out here. And I think this tactic is all about making these two climbs become one. Make it a longer climb at a more gradual power rather than a sprint kick. Not the case in Category 1, where Vink and Pucker have got 2 seconds over Vujasin, Kaminsky, Jones, Panizza and Safazadi.
Well, Vink, well, look at this. It really is starting to wind up now as we head towards the 30-kilometre marker in Category 1 and Category 2. Pucker is coming, so is Thrall and Panizza. Jones, Vujasin and Tugels are all there as Michael Vink pushes on to the descent. He's utilising the descent, using the momentum to take as much pace into the climb as possible, whereas at the top of the climb, Ross Fawcett comes up and through Trojanowski, Morel, X100. Morel, Ica Morel, put in a massive dig at the top of that climb, trying to take the polka dot skin suit. But it has got, well, I was going to say it's got to be Marcin Trojanowski who took it, but it's not. That dig, that absolute commitment from Morel makes him take the fastest time in Category 2 up the Eichenberg climb. He doesn't take the skin suit, though, because in the points competition, well, Trojanowski.
No.
Mendakowicz.
Yep.
Mendakowicz has it. Goodness me, he took 3rd place in the Eichenberg climb in Category 2, but he holds on with the points.
So Morel, Trojanowski, followed by Mendakowicz, Fawcett and Gednes, the top 5. They scored 5 in Category 2. One more climb to go. Meanwhile, in Category 1, Michael Vink has gone solo. He did have company. He hasn't anymore. He has opened the gap. It's now 7 seconds back to the chasing group. Pucker has been pulled into that group, and on the run up this, the Eichenberg climb, the 3rd of the climbs, the 3 central climbs of this race, the categorized climb, Vink has opened the gap. He's got a long way to go solo, because as he drops off the end here, he will only be at 2/3 of the race distance with a long flat run to come. We know how much advantage there is having a group, having the draft. You can see it time and time again. That is going to be key. We've got an attacker in Category 1 who has no draft. I suspect that's going to be Mr. X100, who is off the front. We saw him being caught on the way up the climb. But what we're seeing is a push through the descents that is taking him clear. It is indeed Mr. X100. So we saw him on that series of climbs. Once he got himself back in touch, he didn't back off. He kept that pace and power. He then dropped down, used it on the descent. It gave him sliding room. You saw him getting closed down at the end, but he's then pushed over the top into the descent. And that is one of the things that you can do here in esports, is use those descents as you could do. But remember, you don't need to have the descending skills of Tom Pidcock on the Alpe d'Huez, because you don't have to get around the bends. You can use that power and get that force multiplier of gravity on the descent as well. Now, will Michael Vink power his way over? You're not going to see him sprint in over the top. He's holding a pace he can sustain. Behind him, Stefan Van Els is kicking. He's trying to take away maximum points. I think he has got 4 points. Van Els leading at the top of climb number 1. He took the points, maximum points on climb 1. Climb 2, Michael Vink gets the points, but Vink on the very first climb was not in the top 5 and didn't score any points in the climb number 1. That was the Cortakia. In climb number 2, Van Elst, who took the win on climb 1, takes second place, and that gives him 9 points overall and leading the overall competition. The individual winners, though, on your screens.
Well, they are indeed on your screens from 2 minutes 46 to 4 minutes and 4 seconds. The time up the Eichenberg climb across our 6 race categories today. And now in category 1, Michael Vink did indeed push on. And I can tell you it's a 9-second gap at the moment to Van Elst and Jones. A small gap then further back to Vuyasin and Safrazadi. But at the moment, is that gap big enough? I mean, Vink is now in time trial mode. But the question is, can the others work together and utilise that draft and go faster as a group? Well, the competition may split group work in category 1, but we'll have to wait and see. X100, 5 seconds down the road from Krasnich and Trojanowski. At the moment, if he turned his head, he would see the pack coming, but the pack is stretched. Doesn't look as though there's a lot of teamwork going on there in category 2 at the moment.
So, the group split in Category 2. Category 1 on the flatlands on the way in. Category 6 leader, this is Dylan Kennett, is our furthest rider down the road. He's down. He's so far down. He's underground. He's in the tunnels. He is subterranean at the moment because he's descended off the final climb, which is the Quermont climb, and heading down into the final climb, the Paterberg climb. He'll level out. He will have to make his way through underneath the dungeons. You can just see the water channel out to the left. There's plenty of gunpowder stored in here, ready for the fireworks that will come at the end of the tunnels as we climb out. You go up the Paterberg. Kennett at the moment at 42.2 kilometers of the 45-kilometer race. However, the group behind, there are 3 riders in the battle for second, third, and fourth places: Taron, Abbott, and Rizaria. We'll see whether they are going to be there. In fact, it's going to be these riders here. So, Taron, Rizari, and Abbott, the 3 chasing riders behind. They are 1 minute down on Kennett, so Kennett should take away the win reasonably comfortably in this race. But the chase is on. Those riders behind, they will be wanting to push. Behind them, the category 5 riders not yet making contact. They're being led at the moment by Arias, but we've got even off in the mix and Tong as well. Category 3, 2, and 1 all on their way. Category 2 at the moment, Mr. X100 had a 5-second gap, currently got a 7-second gap. He's sitting at that same pace at the moment. Can he keep that gap clear? One man who's opening the gap, Michael Vink, left-hand side of your screen.
The Vinkinator is doing the business.
And for Justin, the nearest rider to him, I'm just looking to see what the time gap is to Jones. Jones at 17 seconds. If that is actually a full, no, it's not a full second. I was going to say, then for Justin's gone clear, but it's just holding pace. I think the problem is once Vink goes, they all think, right, I'm going to race for second place here, because if they did work together, they could pull him back, but they are jeopardising that second.
Yeah, but Jones, Kaminsky, and Vuyasin are all part and parcel of the Alpha Jaw squad. You know, what a coup for the Alpha Jaw squad working together to take out Michael Vink. But I actually think, Matt, you're correct.
I was just giving that dramatic pause there.
Because second, third, and fourth, you know, are great performances on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. If you work together to try and close a 16, 17 second gap and you expend all the energy to do that, do you then jeopardise second, third, and fourth? And do you then finish 6th, 7th, and 8th? And is that the quandary and the trade-off the riders are thinking about?
Yep. Thought before action if you have time.
Well, there we go. The message for today.
It is my message for today. Dylan Kennett has plenty of time for thought between him and the chasing riders, over a minute clear of the riders in category 6. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. The riders are just to his left are the leaders in category 5. Category 2, well, the lead is a solo lead, Mr. X100, with the gap at the moment. He's on his way. He's just done the first little riser that takes you in towards the Quermont climb. The Quermont climb is the very last categorized climb of the day. Behind him, you can see Krasnich and Downey at the moment with a little bit of a gap starting to close down, using this little climb to push on. SS closing the wheels down though, and this group pretty much together. The pressure is on, the pace is on. They want to get this gap back down again. I think they're going to pull back Mr. X100 before they reach the climb proper. He's giving himself some sliding room as James Krasnich's on this way. We know he's on form. We know he can climb. We know he can do multiple climbs. If you want the full details, watch the show back from last week when we talked about the New Zealand National Championship and I think it was 6, if not 7 times up the hill there. I think it was the Claremont hill rather than the Quermont hill on that particular climb. So, Mr. X100 leading category 2. The chase is now at 5 seconds behind. That's a big bunch behind him as he continues to push. He's making each of these climbs longer. He knows his climbing strengths. He's about to hit the climb proper, but by extending this climb, by pushing out early, he's racing to his strengths. He's using those strengths to try and keep that gap opened up, to push out and to give himself the distance. One man who's got lots of distance between him and the chase behind, Dylan Kennett on the right-hand side of your screen. He's climbed the Paterberg, the last of the big climbs of the day. He's got a right turn, a slight rise up, which is the last vertical ascent he'll have to do. Then it will sweep to the left and he'll see that UCI banner on the other side of the portcullis gateway. And that is part of the medieval defences of our race finish today. Behind him, you can see your bottom left-hand side of your screen. Those are our Category 5 leaders. They are currently sitting behind the chasers in Category 6. We're going to take a look back to the chase in Category 2 at the moment. But Marcin Trzaskowski going with James Krasnich, Andrew Downey, in pursuit of Mr. X100. They are on to the climb here. So this is the big Quermont climb, and this is the run up. It's a stepped climb. It's a 2-stage climb. You've got a little bit of a platform in between the first and second step, but it is only a brief respite for the riders in Category 2. And Michael Vink steadily making his way through those Category 2 riders as well. Right-hand side of your screen, Dylan Kennett at the moment, leading the race at the moment on the road. He's on the climb. The final ascent, the final few meters, it's not a categorized climb by any stretch of the imagination. If you're trying to sprint in, it would take your legs apart in a blink. However, for Kennett, he can afford to pace himself comfortably to the finish and enjoy this. He goes underneath the gateway very shortly. In fact, here it is. So right-hand side of your screen, this is going to be your race winner today. Dylan Kennett goes under the portcullis. He's opened the time gap. He's on the run in. He's going to make his way into the finish. It is the final qualifier for February for 2025. It is race number 3 for February. And your winner coming over the line, Dylan Kennett, in Category 6, wins the mountains category and wins the race.
Well, the race is on behind in Category 6 because Abbott and Teron are battling neck and neck for second and third. But the Category 5 race is going to go up and over the top. And Skiora and Ivanov, well, they are there with Motmans. Anderson 3 seconds back now. But Ivanov and Skiora are battling it out in Category 5. Emil Ivanov on the front, Arta Skiora on wheel 2, but the gap is starting to open and Ivanov is going clear. What can be done behind? Well, the answer is nothing, and Emil Ivanov takes the win in Category 5 today.
So he takes the win ahead there of Skiora and Co, who are racing in to the finish. Ivanov followed by Sikora, followed by Motmans, and then Tong. In Category 5, the overall mountain competition taken by Giraldo's category 4 come in towards the line.
They do indeed, and Christopher Morgan and Nick Squilari are neck and neck, side by side, wheel by wheel, as we're in with Squilari. He's on the screen at the moment. He's in P1 as the banner comes. Nick Squilari's going to take the win today in Belgium in category 4. Christopher Morgan's going to take second place. Squilari, great job.
Great riding by him again. I tell you something, the Morgan Squilari battles are fantastic. So Squilari taking the win from Morgan in category 4. Category 6, so we can bring you the top 5 riders. Dylan Kennett coming in first place ahead of Drew Abbott in second. Then it's going to be Roshan Teron in third. Then Almeida in fourth and Llewellyn in fifth.
Well, coming in thick and fast at the moment are our race categories here in Belgium, because Nicole Kansara is leading the charge with Adam Stenman and Bernard Washnos, as well as they are so close behind. They are coming in hot at the moment because Patrick Karlstrom, Lewis Ridley and Mark Santo are also in the mix at the moment. They've got 800 metres to go until they see the banner. This is a long run from Adam Stenman, but he's pushed on. Who is going to go with him? Has he gone too early? How is this going to play out? Well, we will shortly find out here in Belgium. The riders are coming back up on to the leaders at the moment, and the kick has gone.
So here we go. This is the run around this left turn. The rise continues until it straightens out. Washnos leading. Ridley starting to wind up here with Stenman and Robinson coming as well. So with the polka dot skin suit, it is Washnos. Behind with the multicolored cap is Ridley. The black helmet is that of Stenman. These three riders at the moment have this race lead, but riders could come from behind. There's a big queue behind. It's about getting that timing right in the running. Washnos, Stenman and Ridley. Now Karlstrom is coming. Watch the kick from Karlstrom at 8 watts per kilo. Can he close this gap down? They're winding on the front. Have they left this too late to get the kick in? You can just see Karlstrom is coming. At the moment, it's Ridley from Stenman. Stenman's overtaken him. Has Stenman done it in the last moment? I think he has. I think that is going to be Stenman from Washnos, from Ridley, from Karlstrom and Velez.
Well, Matt calls the order correct. In that category 3 race, it was seriously close. Half a second separated the top 4 riders in category 3 today here in Belgium. We're in with category 1 and category 2, and at the moment X100's lead, I think, is nearly over, because Ross Fawcett is leading the charge behind. Michael Vink on the left hand side of your screen, well, he's extending his gap at the moment. He's at 38.4 kilometres. He's on the Quermont coming towards the top, and the gap, well, I'm not sure what the gap is now in terms of seconds, but you cannot see those riders on the screen.
No, he's well and truly opened that gap up. This is the gap back from Mr. X100 looking back on this descent. Very quickly going to bring you a few more of the results overall in category 4. Nick Squilari, as we saw, taking the win from Christopher Morgan. Behind him, Luke Allport, that we saw on your screens earlier, taking 3rd place. Joshua Haggerty taking 4th, and it's going to be Matteo Pino taking 5th position. Great riding by them in category 4. Category 3, 2 and 1. Well, category 3 we've seen come through. Category 2, the race is on the right hand side of your screen. Category 1, race on your left there. We're back in with category 2. This is about the run now down this descent. Getting the pacing right between here and the finish is going to be key. Let's take a look at your winners in each of the category on the Quermont climb. Vink leading up there with the fastest time, using that to his advantage, 4 minutes and 12 seconds. But he's just been beaten into second place minimum by Stefan Van Elst. Van Elst, the Iceman. Well, he's absolutely flying. He goes up the Quermont climb. He takes away top spot. And in fact, it's Van Elst in 1, Kaminski in 2, Justin in 3, Jones in 4, and Safasadi in 5, Tugels in 6.
Pucker's gone through quicker as well. So actually, Michael Vink now in 9th position up the climb. The chasing pack are climbing quicker.
Will they close down the gap enough? While it's a big gap to keep closed down, you can see Vink on this descent are using his speed to keep the pace high, as we see Mr. X100 using the draft to come through. These riders trying to get some rest in before they go on to the final climb here. Resting at the right time is as important as pushing at the right time. This is about the kicking. Can he stay clear? The big pack will be coming, and we have seen Nicol Cansara, great at indication. Cansara was over the top of the Patenberg at the front of the race in his category, but he ended up in 11th, if not 12th place. This is going to be really, really key. What can the group behind do? Morel, Gednes, along with Janicki, etc. They have got to keep on working here. They need to pull this gap back, force it in as well. This is really, really key.
Well, it is indeed key, and it is going to be a huge push on the front pack here because they are going to want to close this gap down. But has X100 done enough to stay clear? Trojanowski is going to push here. Graves is going to try and go with him. These three riders now on the right-hand side of your screen. Well, they're 250 metres back down the road at the moment. But look at the line. Look at the names. SS Downey, Walter, Fawcett, Graves, Trojanowski, Gledness. Gledness has taken a number of wins over the last few weeks. He's going to want to be in the mix, but have they left it too late?
This is going to be a real pursuit up this climb, and interestingly, we're in with SS here. He's a rider who sprints well, he climbs well, and he has been relatively quiet this race because his teammate has been down the road. The UAE clan team here have sent Mr. X100 down the road. He's gone down the road. The riders behind are into the right-hand turn at the base of the climb. They're going to have to climb up, and this is where they need to pull something special out. They might have a higher peak. SS currently at 10.6 watts there with a massive kick because he knew as we came onto this climb, you've got to be kicking down hard to keep on pushing, to push up and through, and at the moment that's exactly what he's doing. Ike Morel, Downey answering, Trojanowski is doing the same. So's Fawcett. Here they go. The engines haven't just been started, they've got the foot on the throttle, and it's all the way down to the floorboard here. The gas has been turned on, and this is where the kick counts. Be in this group or be out of the back and not in contention.
Well, we said the Patenberg was an absolutely crucial part of the course, and it's playing out that way in Category 2 today. Koinsten, Morel are all in the mix. Fawcett and Mendakowicz. That's X100 on your screen on the left. He's on the right in or with those yellow wheels. He is about to get swamped. Ike Morel in the polka dot skin suit coming up onto the wheels of X100. He gave himself sliding room. He knew he was going to need it because this pack were coming. Krasnich, Gledness, we said he's been on the top spot a number of times recently. He's going to want another top spot today, but this could well be a sprint finish in Category 2.
Mr. X100 continues the pace that he carried up the climb onwards here. He was sitting at pace. SS is on his wheel here. This is now for the rest of the riders about battling the UAE clan team lead out here because you've got two on the front, Mr. X100 and SS. Then it is going to be Gednes. You can see Dadson's in there, Mendakowicz, Krasnich, Koisten and Morel is in. You cannot discount any of these riders at the moment because they are making the way onto the wheels. Right-hand turn here. This is going to be key. This is about the turn. Now we're going to see who is going to get the time in, who will blink first. Gednes just eases off the wheels. He went to 0.8 there. He didn't want to put the kick in. He was waiting to accelerate. SS now at 8.5, 9 watts per kilos. Here he goes. SS has kicked first. He's gone early. Mr. X100 is behind, but what can they do? This is the run round the turn. You've got to get the straight to run correct, though. This is key. SS went with the kick down the straight here. Has he opened up enough of a gap? He hasn't. They are right behind him. Now, here comes the riser. Who's got the power on the rise? Nobody wants to kick too early.
Well,
this turn will be key.
It will do indeed, and Ika Morel just took a breath, but the push is now coming. Graham's Krasnich winds it up, so just force it. Trojanowski's gone at 11 watts per kilo. He is sprinting up the climb, and so is Ika Morel. He's in the polka dot skin suit at the moment, and he's launched his effort at 12 watts per kilo. Mendakowicz is just shy of 11. Trojanowski was going to want the win today, but Mendakowicz is going to fight him for it, and I think Ika Morel is going to go too. Who is going to get this? This is going to be so close. They've got 400 meters, 300 meters. Trojanowski's leading it out. SS, Morel, and Mendakowicz are all there. Force it, I think, is possibly out of this now. But Trojanowski is going to lead it out today. That's the UCI banner. Is he going to make it, or is Ika Morel going to come up and over the top? Morel is coming, so is SS. Will he stay there? Oh, that was so close. On the line, SS took that from Trojanowski, from Morel, from Gledness.
Mendakowicz then force it coming in behind them, followed by Krasnich and the UAE clan team playing the blinder there. SS holding the wheels, putting in the right kick at the right time. Absolutely key there to that victory by SS. The UAE clan team, well, they were playing it that to perfection. A virtuoso performance from the team there for SS to take away the win. It's SS from Trojanowski, from Morel, Gednes, and Mendakowicz, Forsett, Krasnich, X100, Koistonen, and Walter rounding out the top 10 as our Category 1 leader takes the right-hand turn. He's got one more turn to go. That is the left. Vink has a lead of nearly 20 seconds from the leaders behind. As Michael Vink on to this ascent. He's a rider who has raced for a long time here on MyWhoosh, on the Sunday Race Club. He's got the experience, he's got the strength, he's got the power, he has got the gap. It is coming down though. He's going to have to not ease off too much. He can't enjoy this victory wholeheartedly. I think on the way to the line, he's going to have to squeeze. Ollie Jones is behind and he's putting the power down here. The gap is rolling at 15 seconds as Vink responds. Michael Vink can see the banner here. Michael Vink is on his way. He broke clear from all the rest. He time trialed his way down. Your race winner in Category 1 and Qualifier Race 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, Michael Vink takes the win. The sprint is on behind. Ollie Jones comes through. It's another podium for Jones. He's going to take away second place here today, and it's going to be a real fight behind for third and fourth places. I think it's going to be the Iceman who's going to potentially take it.
Well, the race is on at the moment because Safrazadi's leading it out from Pucker, Panizza and Tugels. It's a big push at the moment. The riders are neck and neck, but Safrazadi is leading out this sprint at the moment as they come round the corner. I think Stefan van Elst may well be away and not in this group, but Panizza at the moment is leading the charge. Yes, he is. Kaminski and Van Elst and Vujasin have gone through already. This is the race for 6th place today, and it's Panizza versus Safrazadi. What can Safrazadi do? Safrazadi's coming up, but Panizza is going to take this, I think. There they are, neck and neck. Who's going to go through the line? Oh! I think that has got to be one of the closest races. I think Panizza might just have got that from Safrazadi, but no! Safrazadi gets it by 0.03 of a second on my screen at the moment from Tugels, from Pucker. That's the top 9 in Category 1.
So you can see the riders coming in and through. Fink, Jones, Kaminski, Van Elst, Vujasin, Safrazadi, Panizza, Tugels and Pucker, all Category 1 riders. Winner of Category 2 there, SS, in the top 10 at the moment as we wait for more of our riders to come in and through the finish. All the results on the MyWhoosh website, mywhoosh.com. Go on to the menu and click on to results, and you can find all of the race results on there. Congratulations to Michael Vink of the Boss Moves Only squad on his race win, 1 hour, 3 minutes and 1.415 seconds to take that race win, and in the end by 13.9 seconds. A great race win from him. Before you disappear, before we disappear, just a quick thing to note. If you are in the UAE and you're in Abu Dhabi, 5 o'clock Gulf time today, go down, meet the star riders of the UAE Tour down at the Colnago Star, down at Wolfies on Hudaria Island. Pelo Bilbao, Jasper Philipsen, Lennon van Evelt, Jonathan Milan, Tim Merlier, and a certain Tadej Pogacar will be down there doing autograph photos. Meet your cycling heroes down there. Make sure you follow this week the Abu Dhabi Tour, the UAE Tour. It is at the UAE Tour. Official is on Instagram. Make sure you give them a follow. Get down, get signed up, and go meet your heroes. Get down to the side of the road and watch some racing out in person. Or even better, come and make sure you watch us next week on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Finals.
And guess what you can do? You could now start thinking about joining us in March.
That's
now
a
is
good
the time. Now is the time. If you want to join the Sunday Race Club in March, now is the time to get on board. Head over to mywhoosh.com, click on the events page, look at the Sunday Racing technical guide, look at the race handbook. It gives you all the information you need in there to come and join us on the Sunday Race Club. You do not need to be an elite racer to join us. We have 6 race categories in the men's race field. We have 6 race categories in the men. We would love to see you for Qualifier 1 in March. Jump on board and join us.
So don't forget, follow MyWhoosh. It's at MyWhoosh on Instagram and on Facebook. It's my_whoosh on X. Join Emma for her coaching sessions on Monday and through the week. It is at biking_Emma. Don't forget, you can join me. I'm going to be riding my bike this week. That is my plan. I might even do some work on the way through occasionally. But after a very busy winter, it's my turn to get and turn the pedals round rather than necessarily doing all of the prep for the commentary.
Need photographic evidence.
I might actually put that on the Instagram feed occasionally if you're really unlucky. Do make sure that you give MyWhoosh a follow. A massive thank you to you for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We will be back next week, where I hope you're going to enjoy the action that unfolds, that is brought to you by the amazing team behind the scenes. A big, big thank you to everybody at MyWhoosh. It's time for us to say, stay safe. We'll see you again next week for the finals.
Goodbye.